Happy time zone! Sorry, that shorter intro really throws me for a loop. You guys jump scared me this week. Hello and welcome to stream. Today's stream is brought to you by the world's worst night of sleep. So shout out to anybody else joining in who is either at the very end of their day and staying up too late or just didn't sleep very well last night. And also hello to everybody here, to the early gang and the live gang, as well as to the replay gang who is just tuning in now, thanks to the magic of time and how all of that works. So we have a couple of options as to what we can do today. I'll just finish getting it sorted here. First of all, quick reminder to anybody in Australia, it is Father's Day today, so reach on out to your old pappy, should you be of a mind to do so. But yeah, we are gonna, there we go. Awesome. All right, we got some stuff to do today. So first things first, let's show off the Pokemon that I made during this week's episode. Hold on, I have to just go grab them from across the room. It'll only be a second. I promise the organization will kick in at some point in this stream. What are we even doing today? There we go. All right, let's grab us some Pokemon. Whole armful of Pokemon, really. And hopefully you now all appreciate what I was saying last week. Oh, spoilers on stream. If you haven't seen that video yet. You all now should hopefully understand what I was on about. You can come over here too, mate. They're going to want to see you. Alrighty, and we are back, and we are front. Both sides are here. Whew. Right. Hello to Melbourne. CK, you should see in the Discord your Bug Zoo day. Yeah, Nibbles, I have seen like a steady stream of pictures coming through, but I haven't had time to really absorb them properly yet because I've had a lot going on this morning, but I look forward to combing back through it. And from the little bit that I've seen, it looks like one of those like beautiful, idyllic days that you will remember for a really long time, and so that's so nice. Nobody panic. Alright, here we go. So, yeah, we made Regigigas, who has too many stripes. Guys, too many stripes. We made Bronzor, who was apparently supposed to be domed. And I learned something fun about myself this week. It turns out that if I think a magnet will stick to it, I consider it to be a robot. So I was told off because apparently, well, not told off, someone very kindly corrected me that these aren't robots, this is a gong and that's a golem. But I'm sorry, if I can stick a magnet to it, it's a robot. Let's see. Reggie's is your favorite? Oh, good. Then we made Glalie. This is in no particular order, of course. And I don't want to talk about Glalie. Torkoal Shell is a little bit of a nightmare, but Torkoal Shell is actually worth it because I think I just like, it's the colour. Like, I think I just really nailed the colours on this particular fellow. And I tried something a little bit new with the smoke, with the spike stitching to try and make it look a little billowy. So, yeah, and we made Luxio. And, of course, Dusclops. So we only have Dusknoir remaining in this line now. And I'll flash the Pokédex up on the screen. It has not been updated since last week, though, I don't think. What did I just click and drag? That'll be a fun surprise for me later. That one. Yeah, no, sorry. It's, still the old Pokédex over here. Because we're not really Pokemon themed, even though all of my graphics and stream elements and whatnot are Pokemon themed for obvious reasons. So the final guy you have to look at isn't really fully assembled yet. My goodness, I'm getting crowded in here already. And I didn't think I was going to be able to show him on stream, so I did send a photo to Discord last night. But Gyarados is coming together. He's a little dramatic. This isn't necessarily the final curve I'm going to do. But he does hold himself up. And just as a size comparison, this is Onyx next to him. So they're of a size, but Gyarados looms quite effectively across, over the top of all of them. It ended up being a very science fantasy episode. It did. Yeah, I agree that Glalie's teeth are very Bugs Bunny. It's because the line, like the black yarn that I used to stitch the lines on, is a little bit thick, and so it masks it on the sides. But I will potentially go back and correct that if it does bother me long term. Otherwise, I'm happy for him just to be a bit of a bugs. Let's just move you out the way, buddy. He is still held together by, like, every pin. All of the pins. Let's get my cup out of the frame. Okay. All right. So that was stream. No, I'm joking. All right, so today we actually have a couple of options as to what you guys might like to do. So I'm a little bit loosey-goosey. With the release of Hollow Knight yesterday, I debated not really talking about this, but with the release of Hollow Knight yesterday, I'm going to be trying to put a video out for that this week. So feel free to drop them in the Discord video ideas channel specifically. If you have a favorite character that's already come up in Silksong, that's where I want to see those. We're going to keep them out of stream today though, just so that I can stay fairly like unspoiled. I'm not necessarily going to play the game, but we're going to try and design up a few creatures like I did with the Ocean Weirdos, so that's probably going to be this week's video. Yeah, Hollow Knight, exactly. So I just wanted to like address the elephant in the room. I hear you guys, I see it, I feel the urge myself, but we're going to try and keep stream clear of it a little bit today. If you have a favorite character from Hollow Knight Silksong specifically, go to the video ideas channel over on the Discord and drop a picture there, and I'm going to scan through there and pick the 3 that I like the best, I think is the current plan. Yep, Puppy. Puppy is very high on my list. But I haven't really seen many of the other designs yet, so it should be a fun little challenge. When the first Gen 5 Mon is made, I need you to know I'll be cheering and screaming in joy from the sidelines. Well, sorry, I feel like I should be doing something more on screen, so how about I talk with my hands? That's the thing about this challenge coming to an end, because obviously we've started fighting the Elite Four, so we possibly only have one more episode of the Chaos Crisis run in us. To wrap all of that up. But then after that, I don't know if I'm going to roll straight into another Pokemon challenge, but the next Pokemon challenge I do after that will include Gen 5. It's definitely not going to have Gen 1 or 2 in it because Gen 2 will be stream only, but I'm actually even thinking about excluding Gen 3 from it and just doing Gens like 4, 5, and maybe 6, because 6 is just a little one. So I'm going to play around with a few formats for that and see what we think. First game, Johto region. The other thing goes to Kanto. We're in Johto at the moment, I believe. Yeah, but like the post game, I'm gonna play it by ear a little bit. It might be like we do a little summary of it, or I don't know. I will decide. It's going to depend on how long it takes me to beat the Elite Four in episode 16, and then based on how much episode I have left, I'll pick a direction, because I might decide to end it at the end of Mount Silver, and just skip the Kanto region. Nibbles, I am aware that his name probably isn't actually Puppy, but it's just a really accurate description. Without being a spoiler for anyone, so it's like really good. I'm thinking we're going to limit it to the second game, the new one that's just come out. Because then we can always do the first one later if we wanted to. There is a stream tonight. Okay, anyway, I was talking to you guys about ideas. I'm going to start a poll while we do this. So, we have a couple of options today, and I'm going to try my best to remember what they are. We can spin the dock wheel. You all might have seen that in the thumbnail. Basically, I've tried to remember every idea that we came up with last week, put them on a wheel, and my thought was we could spin it, come up with something that meets that theme and start designing it. I want it to be a bit more crochet heavy today. Last week was very sketchy. Today I want to be a little bit more crochet heavy. I have a little mouse or rat pattern that I want to make. Mischief rat design session. I need to lock in a like official squog pattern for something. Now keep in mind that will take the form of designing a square and not much else. And there is one more thing, but I don't know if I'm ready for that project to be public yet, so maybe we'll just stick to those 3 options, unless you all have any kind of requests for things you might like to do on stream today. If you guys pick the wheel, we will review what's on there and we can add things to it. It's not locked in place. So, because like I think I forgot to put cryptids on, But I remembered it as soon as I saw my sketchbook this morning. So I did intend to put cryptids back on it. I didn't leave it out on purpose. Pretty good Bottega channel. Hopefully all is well with you as well. Okay, there we go. Let's start that poll. What do you guys want to do today/first? I'm like, it's probably not going to be a super long stream. Like 3-ish hours was a good measure last time. Might even stop for a little nap in the middle of it. Let's see how we go. Okay, you guys are decisive and I appreciate that. Alright, well, you guys finish that vote off. Maybe I'll put the wheel back on the screen. Let's see if this works. Hey, we have a wheel. And let's just... You guys can vote for things that are not the wheel, but the wheel is just a fun graphic to have on the screen while you decide. So currently on the wheel, we have Flowers, Mischief Gang, Feral Appliances, Shapes and Colours, Extinct, Doing a Lot Better, Domesticated/Pets, Fantasy, Birds, Fish Tank, and Cryptids. Have I forgotten anything else? Anything? Probably won't be super chatty today, very sleepy. Yeah, Devil in the Details. This stream literally is dedicated to the people who are a little overtired today, so it's a perfect stream for you to just chill out for. You can take Benadryl in a few minutes. That's good. That's good. Like, let it knock you out. Let it save you from where the air is fire. Decisively chaotic. Yeah, that's true too. Yeah. Oh, right. Yep. We did talk about a list of spooky things, but that was about Halloween idea generation, and I was trying to keep them separate from the Christmas stuff. Not that they're Christmas themed, but like I try not to let Halloween bleed into everything, just as a matter of discipline. It lands on feral appliances. That's the chaos. That's fair. We could have fun. Like, it'll be fun designing a feral appliance today, though. I should add that, I mean, you guys have already picked the wheel, let's be honest, but like, if you pick the wheel and we spin it up and we design something, there is a chance you are already being spoiled for 12 days of crochet. However, just because this spins up, for example, Extinct, it does not mean that that is going to be the 12 days of crochet theme. We're just playing with it a little bit today to see how we feel about things. Watermelon, we're about to spin a wheel, I think. That's what you missed. 12 days of crochet, but other holidays, not Christmas. I think being tired is a side effect of adulthood. It's a side effect of, like, battling priorities. I will say, when I fall over these days, I don't bounce quite as effectively as I used to as a child. Crocheter, discipline, how do these things go together? Well, I mean, it's because you got to catch it in the idea phase. I'm a little over-inspired at the moment. I've had to start a Trello board. for any of you who work in, like, business places, you'll know about Trello. I had to start a Trello board just to keep track of all my ideas because, like, I am a little over-inspired at the moment and I'm just never getting to so many of them, and then I forget the really good ones. All right, I've closed off that poll. You guys, 72% of you said spin the dock wheel. Dock is days of crochet, for anyone wondering. 20% said Mischief Rat design session. 6% said squog pattern development. So thank you to everyone who voted, but we are going to be spinning this wheel. So now it becomes really important that if there was... I need to make a watermelon dragon. Do I? Maybe. You think there was oh yeah, reptiles and amphibians maybe. But I feel like they kind of fold into like domesticated and pets as well. Reptiles, amphibians can go on there as well. I almost put the continents on there as well, like having like Europe, Africa. We already did South America, so we won't put them on there. We could have Asia on there, and we've already done Australia as well. We could also do North America, though I'm a little bit fuzzy on what specifically your specific animals are. Just because, I mean, I grew up on American media, so the like, American animals, I think I may have accidentally filed mentally in my head as just general animals, whereas animals from other places tend to be a little bit more specific, if that makes sense. 12 days of dragon nuggets. Maybe we could do little dragon nuggets, but I feel like people get really bored of 12 of them. Like, it's like we got to keep that interesting. So yeah, we're going to spin the wheel. If everybody is happy that we have everything on this list. Okay. It's all happening live, so it's not like I can fudge it if we pick something bad. No, not that. Okay, cool. Yes, that. Sorry, my biases are showing. All right, well, we just added reptiles and amphibians to the list, and oh, true, New Zealand can also go on the list, but New Zealand is more of a, isn't that a subcontinent? I did specifically state continents. Canadian here. Yeah, Canada could also be fun, but that oh, right, I did say North America, right? I'm specifying the continent, not the country. So, yep, okay, cool. Canada counts. All right. The noble beaver. Moose. Geese. All right, well, anyway, we spun up reptiles and amphibians. So now we got to work out where to go from there. Get rid of that and turn that off. I hope that sound wasn't too jarring. I actually didn't check the volume level on that, so if there was audio, I am sorry, and hopefully it was pleasing audio.
Volume was good.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm just reading chat, and it's just really funny, like variety of responses coming in. Dragons are reptiles. Frog, frog, frog. Oh no, the one I didn't want. Okay, wow, we got some. Yeah, okay, cool. You guys keeping them coming in. I like axolotl. We've already got a couple of axolotl parts. We've already got all. Like, I feel like we have fished heavily from reptiles and frogs, so I'm not going to give myself the out of. But we've already got one of those. So like, because otherwise I would never make another frog, and that's just not happening. So we've got, and I have given up, and I am using a subpar pencil now, because little stubby here is just, I mean, well, you saw, I have to like full on, there's no brace support at the back, it's all just twiddling. Reptiles, amphibians, and anything that might be mistaken for either one of those. So we have axolotl was the first suggestion I saw. Someone needs to feed their axolotl. There we go. Does it look like an axolotl? No, not really. CK, if I may, is a squog, not an amphibian. Oh wow, I'm seeing so many suggestions.
Can I have your pencil now?
Will you please treat it with respect, because I love it?
Okay.
It's getting a nice retirement, so don't attach anything to it permanently.
Okay.
What are we going to do?
I'm going to soften that up with hot water. Put a piece on the end, that way you've got a full-size pencil.
Oh, okay. No, I would rather just let it retire gracefully. Thank you, though.
Okay.
He was going to extend the handle of it. Oh, look at the flowers he got me. Aren't they pretty? It was, and no, not a birthday, not an anniversary, not nothing. It was just a regular Tuesday, and I got some pretty flowers, and that's that. So a squirrel is not an amphibian. Unfortunately, this is a bit trickier because I don't have, like, I don't know what half these things look like. Maybe I did not think this through. Meanwhile, Beetlemakes / Nibbledrake is literally just filling up live stream with various reptiles in a very helpful fashion.
Discord.
What was that, honey?
Butt pics in Discord.
Butt pics. Oh, right, yeah, I'm looking. Okay. Common basilisks. Electric blue day gecko. Crested gecko with their little frog butts. Skink. I'm sorry, there's something. I know that there is something wrong with our boy, but those are your children? Okay. Well, they're very handsome children. Sorry. I am looking at reference images of critters right now. I'm thinking, I like the idea of a crocodile, but I don't know how it's... I think we're going to go probably something froggy or lizardy today, if we're going to design something on stream. So it's a kind of a comfort zone area. I'm liking the look of... Who is this handsome fellow? Yeah, Mr. Mr. Bones is being very helpful, and like that is the exact one that I've zeroed in on. He's so handsome. You want an ankylosaurus? Alright. I need to work out what this type of lizard is so I can tell you the type of lizard I'm about to attempt to try and work on. Maybe I can do like a reverse image search. Hold on. Sorry guys, I know this is probably not the most stimulating viewing experience. I think what I'm looking at is called a crested gecko. And I think I love them. Unfortunately, their faces are so photogenic, there's not many of their full... Oh, there's some of the body. Okay. The coolest part about doing reptiles and amphibians, all the under the log pictures can be of this year's 12 days of crochet eating last year's. Mr. Barnes. As I mentioned, this does not mean we're going to do reptiles and amphibians for this year's 12 days of crochet. It just means that for today, we're going to try and design this little crested gecko fella. Because I find him very friend-shaped. That needs to come in a little bit. Not to be too pedantic about it. So there might just be a little bit of sketching as we try and work out what this looks like to start with, and then it'll then we'll grab our hook and we'll try and make one. That's the plan. I'm so used to just doing the same thing every week that the idea of actually having to have a plan, it's a little bit, or like state the plan, it's a little bit weird to me. What's your body doing, buddy? What that body do? I wish your face wasn't quite as photogenic, friend, so that people would take photos of the other parts of you. These are feet, they're not little paddles, I've just sketched them in roughly.
I got side and bottom shots.
Oh, bless. Such a little roly-poly. Oh, I actually think that top shot is potentially the most helpful for me. Because he's kind of got like diamond head. Then he's a long boy. And then culminating in some sort of tail. The tail is off camera. Can only draw what we can see, but you can see that the legs are actually really like anchored into the form. The real hassle with these sorts of things is that we're trying to make them teeny itty bitty. It's not always the easiest thing. And this fellow is very crested. I don't know if they're all this crested. In fact, the crest itself might pose a huge problem for us. There isn't a chameleon pattern yet. That is accurate. There have been several attempts over the years, but none that have made it to camera. It's funny. The ones that make it to camera seem to be ones that I like just sit down and I just like they emerge fully formed from my hook, and I'm like, cool, all right, that's what we're doing today then. And there are some things that I'll sit down and they don't just happen straight away, and so then we don't ever see them again. Hello, my love.
Hello. Sorry.
What's got you lurking?
You know how you did the fluff on the dogs?
Oh, yeah?
You could do like just the fluff just down the crest.
I'm sorry. I love how much you love the fluff technique, but it's because it's exactly proportionate to how much I hate the fluff technique.
By our powers combined, it is a technique.
We are net neutral on it. Alright, I'm seeing... Okay, I'm going to just make a few notes here because I understand that people have some requests here. So we have basilisk. Crested gecko is the one I'm currently sketching up. I'm seeing pobbleblanc, which I will look up in a second, but it's a fun word, so it gets to go on the list. I wrote basilisk down already. Armadillo girdled lizard. Folks, these are meant to be minis! It means that we gotta be able to make it in like an hour. Not today, but like the final product. So that does, it limits the amount of detail we can get into them. Maybe I'm just being a scaredy cat. Maybe I just need to be braver. Oh, why did my neck hurt? I appreciate you, Nibble Drake. If we end up set on a course for crested geckos, I will make sure that I use your baby as a reference point. I want to look up pobbleblancs though. That's a fun word. It's captured me. It's captured my attention. And I do have a soft spot for frogs. Why, that is just a standard frog. Okay, so the cresty that we were drawing, who was just very happy to see us all, her name is Biscotti, and she's beautiful and we love her. Just want to make sure that she's labelled so that we know. Alright, so yeah, the pobbleblanc appears to just be one standard frog. The eyes of a frog. The somewhat disapproving expression of a frog. That's a frog. Flat back of a frog. Juicy nugget of a frog. It is my closest rendition of a pobbleblanc. He's just a little guy. He's just there and he's vibing. He also looks pretty much exactly like this. Is that why pobbleblancs came up? I feel like, okay, so squog, I will draw a little squog here, right now for y'all. But I will say that I do think that, it would be disingenuous for me to turn this theme into a squog because squog was a separate option on the poll for me to work on. A night breeze. You think you remember me saying I wanted each of the 12 days to be quick and easy, think for accessibility reasons, or maybe to make knocking 12 in a short span easier on me? It's not just about me. Because like, honestly, these days I've had so much practice, I can knock out 3 standard pattern videos in a day, or like filming them anyway. And don't get me wrong, when they're shorter, easier patterns, they are easier to film and they're easier to edit. It means I can do one a day basically, which is helpful when you're trying to do one a day. But there's also like, where it's about crafter fatigue. I don't want these to become a huge part of people's day. They're fun because if I keep it to a 30 to 40 minute pattern for me to make, it keeps it normally about under 3 hours for everyone else, which makes it a reasonable pattern to do in a day, which means more people can participate in the event of like getting photos in for the next day's video. And like that's kind of a big part of this, is that everyone's working on the same thing at the same time. It's like the difference between watching a movie at home alone or watching a movie in a movie theater, you know, with that vibe of everyone like on the same wavelength as you. And so like if I keep the patterns as little and not easy, I don't think any of them have ever been easy, but if I keep them like restricted to something that can be done in a relatively short time frame, then it includes the most people to be part of like the main meat of the event, which is the let's make one every day. If they start creeping into like 4, 5, 6 hour projects for people, that's just not, that might work on a weekend, but it's not going to work across the whole thing. And so like the idea is to make this work as well on a Tuesday as it does on a Saturday. Yeah. Red-eared terrapin. I'm not sure. Talking about Gila monsters? Le frog nugget soup. Oh, Night Breeze, I don't remember if I said that already. Yeah, exactly, Emily. That's exactly it. It's just like, y'all, people have jobs. Plus, with these ones here, the littler they are, the harder I have to work to make them a comprehensible design. And that's a fun challenge for me because, like, as I mentioned, I can, like, trot out 3 designs in a day, and I like this to be, like, a little bit more of a challenge for me as well. And when they're under 10 rows long, it means that I can iterate on them if I don't like something, whereas a lot of the other stuff that I work on, it ends up in a bucket of, okay, I would tweak a couple of things on that, but time is up and it's like 90% fine. So, yeah. Let's do a 100-hour Mata Turtle. I'm like, yeah, I can do that. Do it with a bit of trauma. Let's do it. Well, okay. If you want trauma, then what we want is I think it's like the moss frog, little guy who has like little growths all over his back. Watermelon. Selling out completely is amazing. If you have a market on Saturday, okay, so speed crocheting is an option, but also is, if you have the option to do so, get really nice photos of some of the things you already make and allow people to do pre-orders. Particularly as like, you're still physically in the location, so like shipping won't be a huge issue. And yeah, like give people the option to still like purchase from you even if you don't have the stock. I guess I get that markets are a little bit more like, oh, I like this specific one I have attached to it. It was just more to help add a little bit of padding. If you like, don't hurt yourself. That's also important. All right. Sorry, I'm going to focus back on what we're doing today. I think there was a lot of love for the crocodile, so I should maybe draw a little crocodile. Okay, the red-eyed tree frog is a total vibe. I saw somebody take the original 12 Days of Crochet frog and do the color story for a green tree frog. And it was incredible. Sorry, for a second there I was going to say a name and then I questioned myself, so I don't think it's the person I think it was. But like, I saw it and it's just done perfectly. I'm just like, cool, okay, so that frog pattern already works for that frog. Gila monster. I'm seeing Gila monster. Hold on. And yeah, I'm going to pronounce the G, but then I also say gnome and kniff. So I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Oh, someone's a sucker for punishment. Look at this chunky fella. Those color markings scare me, but that's not a reason not to do something. All right. I think I got distracted from crocodile quite effectively there. So it's like triangle boy. And then he's just kind of a sausage with a little bit of a stump. Oh, Oh, am I seeing 5 fingers on each hand? Gila monster is Sneaky Peoplemon. Photo I'm looking at doesn't have a good reference for this backhand. And he's kind of just like... So easy to do with a pencil, impossible to do with yarn. Don't know why I'm so musical today. I think it's a panic reflex because I'm still not feeling in huge control over what we're doing today. That will arrive with time. Ah, and he's got peaceful little eyes, this guy. And the texture does lend itself to crochet stitches, I will allow that. And these markings are like... He's got like a little bit of spattering across his head. Hopefully that is a suitable Gila monster for you. All animals are secretly 5-fingered. Mr. Bones. Gecko or a skink? Wasn't the rainbow dart frog pattern like... I think it was 260 colour changes. Oh my goodness, someone got that tattooed on themselves. I just blew my mind. Made me swear in the Discord. I had to get Mr. Bones' permission, of course, but like, that was really cool. Someone crocheted one and then their friend got it crocheted. That's apparently what happens when you crochet something and then tattoo it. It becomes crocheted. And then someone got it tattooed on themselves. It was like a really good tattoo. Like really like nice line work. Like... A variable king snake. Sometimes an orange head. Oh, okay. I am looking at a specific reference image, I'll admit. Western skink. I'm seeing western skink. Apparently I'm just drawing lizards for the first little bit of today, and I'm going to lean into that. Oh, he's got a fun blue tail. Look at that. Wait, okay. Watermelon, when you were agreeing with Sith Assassin, are you agreeing with the sometimes orange head or the western skink? Let's just add a little guy in here. I got a fun angle on this one here. So he's just a tube. He's like our 13-foot tapeworm, but in lizard form. Tiny little arms and legs. Like he's blue from there down and he's got like a shine to him. Or a stripe. That's his tongue. I feel like I captured his vibe even if it doesn't look anything really like him. Oh, well, welcome, Danny, and happy birthday. Sorry, it's kind of a non-traditional stream, but I'm thinking about going back to the Pokemon streams from next week onwards, actually. It's not set in stone or anything yet, it's just I appreciate having a structure for these streams, and so these little looser ones are throwing me out of off kilter a little bit. The late hour of the chat, but you want a lizard-shaped pastry. Your mouth is watering. Wait, is there such a thing as a lizard-shaped pastry? Oh, salamander. Let me look at you, because salamanders are what happens when axolotls go either right or wrong, depending on how you feel about it. There they are. They're just like little goopy boys. They're kind of like lizards that forgot to fully form, but they're also perfect shaped. So I just, yeah. Oh, you. Oh, you. Look at your friend face. Oh my goodness. Hello, baby. Okay, yeah, salamander. Salamander wins. How does your mouth work, friend? Let's try and get it in the right spot. Okay, I'm not doing the best rendition of a salamander, but I encourage y'all to look them up because they're adorable. They're kind of squishy, shiny, spotty. Perfect little friends. How have I not met one of you before? How are you not my favorite thing? You're like frog lizards. Like, they're literally covered in yellow spots. Or at least the one I'm looking at is.
I know exactly the one you're looking at.
Just let's try and give him a little bit more character to his face. He's really worried about whatever is above him. The Suriname toad. Alright, sorry, yes. I should look up basilisk. I saw a picture of one running across the water, and I'll admit that it did not grab me. Okay, yeah, let's not... okay. Googling regular basilisk brings up everything from, like, cockatrices through to dragons on my screen. And keyboards, too. I think that's a keyboard in the mix. Common basilisk. That's better. Okay, we're finned and we're eating another basilisk. That's just... Hello. Oh, you're fancy. Oh, they look exactly like that Pokemon. Who am I thinking of? Is it Reptile? Somehow this part of the page is the least convenient part of the page to draw on, so it always gets left till last. Let's see, they got little triangle heads. Just drawing past the frog. It's hard to tell what this head fin is doing exactly, but I'm gonna guess it's based on Reptile, so I can make that work. Feet are hidden in my reference image. Feet are hidden in my reference image. Art Attack was very formative for me. I don't know if you guys watched that show, but like at one point there was this whole episode about like, don't draw what you're thinking you see. Draw only what you see. And now that goes through my head without fail whenever I'm drawing anything. I'm just like, do I see that or do I only think I see that? It's possibly why I have so much trouble working out what Blaziken looks like. Here's ripply, and then he's got like little dots. Okay, we are building up some sketching fodder. I promised a crocodile to the people though, so let me look up a crocodile real quick and at least add him to the page. Hello, friend. It has to be a salty. You're chubby little fellows. Now, see, don't get me wrong. I really appreciate, I have a lot of respect for and I really appreciate the shape of a crocodile. They are just so very physically present when they are around. Which is a weird description to give something, but like, you either get, like, it either makes sense to you or it doesn't, but it makes sense to me. Like, they are physically present. Again, it's just one of those ones where I'm not sure how well it translates, but that's not the problem we're dealing with today. Let's click on you. No, I want one of you looking like fat and happy. Hang on. I like it when they have the neck rolls. Happy saltwater croc, because I'm quite insistent it must be a salty. Not loving the quality of these reference images I'm getting. Oh, hello.
He's got a lot of presents.
Close, but not quite what I'm looking for here. Um, friend who works at a school in Florida had a baby gator found in the school's grounds the other day. Yeah, gators and saltwaters are different. Don't get me wrong, still valid and good, and neither is better than the other. But I quite specifically want a salty. There's one on a golf course that looks like he's having a time because he's harassing someone with a golf club. And like, that feels like a saltwater croc's best time. Like, honestly, saltwater crocs belong in Mischief Gang. Except for the fact that they eat a lot of people and dogs every year. Maybe that's not so much mischief as it is criminal mischief. And to be fair, we didn't make the distinction when we were talking about that as a theme. Sorry, some of these sketches have turned into how do I accomplish the vibe of this creature in as few pencil marks as possible. Got like nice round belly happening. And then the axolotl is the guy with the golf club. Trying to get the croc to stay away. Your brother once got chased. Sorry, I spat everywhere. Chased around a golf course by a swan. Swans are mean. Swans are very mean. There we go. We have crocodile on the list. Aquatic reptiles exist. Okay, a Loch Ness Monster I feel like is not quite the vibe, but I'll chuck a little Nessie in. But she's a derpy little Nessie. Not a single thought has ever lived for long in her little head. Ooh, Thorny Devil. I always say wrong and you'll get the giggles. And they're very spiky. I feel like I could just literally make a little scribble and it would represent the Thorny Devil. My goodness, they're cranky little fellows though, aren't they? Fun fact, my dad refers to these little guys as dragons. And there was a rumor of them appearing in like a nature adjacent reserve-y place next to where he lives. And for the longest time, he did his best to try and spot one. Please note that they're not native to the area we're talking about. It's just like a work dude was up there and reckoned he spotted one. He started something. The guy does not realize what he started in that moment. No, Spike's going the wrong way. Gotta spike him up this way. I'm sorry, he's fallen off the page. Possibly as like a metaphor for the fact that my dad never got to see his dragon. Or hasn't yet, anyway. Do you know that all of those spikes on their heads and whatnot, this is not a good approximation, but like all the spikes on their heads help channel like moisture down into their mouths so that they don't dehydrate. Good. Louis, that's the correct response. Like, tried to draw a realistic frog and it didn't turn out how I wanted, so I drew a silly cartoon frog and it made you happy. You put the pencil on the page, and you hope that if you move the pencil around enough, it turns into an approximation of what you're looking for. That is my guide to drawing. Has everyone been hydrating? I have not. Let me hydrate real quick. Alright, I think we're going to draw one more. I'm seeing Goanna. I think I've drawn everything that people requested on that I got onto the list. To me, Goanna is kind of just like a slight, like, I would draw it pretty much the same way I drew the Gila monster. Flying gecko? What do they look like? Oh no, goannas are definitely longer and pointier, you're correct. Sorry, that's just me having thoughts about the goanna. What's his name? He lives in the woodpile. Anyway, there's a goanna that harasses my folks sometimes. Oh, it's George! There you go. I don't know, maybe.
Most of the animals I've heard of living in people's houses were called George.
Well, you know that the GIF in Discord of the goanna scrabbling madly on the the tiles? That's basically what happened last time. they accidentally.
No traction.
Yeah.
Full speed.
That is a very good cartoon frog. Oh, sorry, my throat got itchy. Okay, the common basilisk has a very pretty face. Sorry, I've just encountered a new reference image for it, so I'm going to add a few more details. In future, if I'm doing streams like this, it needs to be in a way where you guys can just, like, show me pictures instead. So I can be like, oh, I like the look of that guy, because, like, the text itself is not a particularly inspiring thing. Electric blue day gecko. Cool colors, but just generic lizard shape. Jackie, you're being rewarded. All right, I've seen a few requests for snapping turtle, and we have no turtles on the page, so I'm inclined to give in to that particular request. Oh my goodness, look at you, you chunky little friend. Oh no, you hate us. That's even better almost. Where's a good angle on you, friend? Ever look at something and just be like, this just might be my spirit animal. I relate a little too hard to everything this creature is. We've got Shell, we've got Snap, we have Many Happy Roll, and we have Leave Me Alone. They're great. Have you seen snapping turtles?
I think it's a snapping turtle. Got a fun fact about them.
Okay.
They're in like the mud puddles around where rhinoceroses go.
Oh.
Rhinoceroses go into the mud, and the turtles come up and they clean them.
That feels a little too helpful.
It's like, oh, you have ticks. Nom 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 nom.
Nom 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 nom. Rhinos, man. They're just like, they're getting cleaned by the rest of the animal kingdom constantly. Sorry, I'm just looking for a good angle that I want to draw this guy at. But I'm having a hard time finding just like one that captures everything I want to capture. I'm finding plenty that like if I did it from multiple angles, we could find it. But I might just have to go simple. Let's do. This isn't that deep. Let's do that one. Dang it, that's a really uncomfortable place to draw, but so is that. Let's do it up here. Oh, I think it's stormy outside. You can hear the rain coming in. Now today is a very much a choose your own adventure type of thing. So now we've expanded further upon this reptile theme. You guys are going to get another choice. In that you get to decide if you want us to carry on and try and crochet one of the ones we've drawn, or do you want to spin the wheel again and try your luck that way. Now we'll put a poll up on the screen in just a moment. And that's how we're going to proceed today. Basically, you guys get to choose, yes, we want to continue, or no, let's change direction. And we'll do that until we reach either a satisfying or an unsatisfying conclusion. This is my snapping turtle friend, though. I hope you love him, because I do. There he is. Oh, okay. What's an alligator snapping turtle then? Okay, you know, they were thoroughly in my reference images. They are okay. To be fair, I've drawn this happy little guy, but it was the alligator snapping turtles I was looking at when I was just like, I relate to this creature. Look how angry it is. Their mouths are a little bit more like, I'm gonna get ya. He feels the blood of his ancestors pulsing in his veins. And he feels it that way because he ate his ancestors. They would not leave him alone. He just looks like he's in full-blown tantrum mode coming off the page there. Okay. So, firing up the poll. Let's have yes, crochet one of the sketches. Spin the wheel again. I want to respect the original choice to spin the wheel at all, so I won't add any of the squogs or anything else. So you guys get to pick what we're gonna do from this point, and I'm going to pick the sketch that we do, maybe. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Well, he's trying to eat the other dragons too. They're all trying to like fly away. I have a hook. I am ready. I'm trying to decide who I would want to crochet because so many of these little guys actually have a lot of character, and I got to tell you that the snapping turtle is kind of calling my name a little bit at the moment. But I'm worried that's me kind of letting down the team a little because you guys are clearly thirst for the lizards. I don't know how many we're going to be able to make them, actually. So open you up. I'm still just constantly collecting reference images. I'm trying to see how their jaws work. Okay, I see. Oh yeah, chameleon. Sorry, I can't believe I don't have chameleon anywhere on this page. I'm just going to draw a little chameleon real quick because they're easy little guys. I mean, not to draw well, but just to draw in general. Because they've got the dignity of only two little fiendish grabbers. And so they don't need the rest of everything else that's going on. There you go. A little chameleon on the page. We have decided that the size of the Dumbo octopus is also a mini, but it's not to do with the size on that, it's to do with the complexity of the pattern. And so, like, as this series develops, it's going to, like, fluctuate a little bit until things, like, because I like them to look like a collection, which means I like them all to be of a similar size, but I can't have something that's meant to be a huge creature be really complex, so we make it really tiny, and then something that's meant to be a simple creature turn out really big because we have the energy to do it that way. So it's just like, you know, it's a design process. We feel our way forward and then I make adjustments accordingly. That's how I ended up with the bucket of bugs last year, and it's how we'll end up with a bucket of whatever it is this year. Never know what to do with my bucket of bugs. Feel too bad to frog them. Can't throw them away. So you end up just with a bucket of bugs you have to carry with you forever. You'll do thirst for the lizards, that is correct. Okay, my hesitation regarding the salamander is that the spots are such a massive part of the design, and any crochet I do today wouldn't include the spots. So, I'm seeing I'm going to say that's a gharial? I will look it up real quick and decide if I feel like it fits into one of the other generic categories. Oh, okay. Long-nosed crocodile. Okay, so this is one of those things, cool looking creature, right? But it's one of those things where its proportions are so off from what you consider to be a crocodile. If I made that, people would just think I was making fun of a crocodile. They wouldn't understand that the reference that's being made necessarily. So it makes it really hard. It's one of those things where things can look a certain way in a photo, but if you draw them that way, people just think you can't draw. That's kind of the niche this particular dude fits into, because his head looks like this. He's got like... And it is not an exaggeration. That is what this fellow looks like. And then he just goes into like a full-blown normal-sized croc. My ear is itchy and my earring is in the way. You want a mini version of the hermit crab? Okay, sorry, you guys have thoroughly voted. You wish to crochet. Though it's not as close... no, sorry, it's not as close as I kind of thought it would be. I thought that would be... Sorry, it's not as decisive as I thought it would be. So yeah, okay, you guys want me to pick up a hook? Let's pick up a hook. I need to decide on one of these little buddies, one of these little friends to add to the group. And I warn you now, I'm going to be designing in a... It's always such a double-edged sword. I find that I design more effectively when I can see what I'm doing, but the design comes out better if I use the colours that they're supposed to be. Now, all of these guys are kind of just dark grey. So sorry, I know that there's a lot of brightly coloured lizards on this page, but like big terrarium project. Yeah, that could also be really fun. Like some plants, some lizards, some frogs, some bugs. Just like really fun. And then you just put them all in a little box at the end. And it's just like... Yeah, no, like that's cool. But we'd still need to decide on a feature lizard. Who is calling to me right now? Because I'm enjoying a couple of them. I'm enjoying this little guy a great deal. I enjoy the photos of this guy, but I think his crests are putting me off because of the difficulty scale. I kind of thought there'd be more frog presence on this page, but I'm the one who let the team down there. I'm the one who drew everything. So I do like me a little salamander or a little snapping tortoise. I think generic frog is like almost like if we did an amphibian theme, almost definitely a frog would appear in it. Alligator snapping turtles do have moss on their shells. I was looking at that. So like maybe I could just like draw. Fancy little shell cover for him. I don't know, I think he's kind of fun. So, what colours do I have at hand that I could use comfortably? I have some green. Yeah, they're all just kind of shades of brown and muddy grey. So I've got like the perfect snapping tortoise colour, if I'm honest. That's too green, I understand that. And I've just got like some nice warmer browns that can be used. Even have some beige, but I don't think he's got maybe like an undershell type of thing. Now, I understand that the alligator snapping tortoise or snapping turtle has like spiky shell, and the regular one has like a smooth shell. It's the smooth one that I kind of liked, but I noticed that he also has moss growing on him as well. So I think I can get away with almost like a mashup of the two, because they both have very similar shapes, but one has like the raised ridges and more pronounced snap to him. And like, it's just like the difference between the two are going to be so subtle that I don't know if it's going to... I just stopped mid-sentence and I have no idea what's happening. I'm fine, like nothing's going wrong. I just stopped mid-sentence and the train of thought is just gone. Something about tortoises. I promise everything is fine. It was just like... That's a little trauma for any of you who are over 30. The rest of you wouldn't know what I was talking about. This seems to be the colour that we have, though I have some dark grey here that we could use for the shell. I know that they're not super fun colours, and it's one of those ones where if it becomes part of any kind of final series, it might turn into... Come on, brain, form the end of sentences, not just the start. Like with the Australian animals, I did them like a brightly coloured rainbow, but then with the South American animals, I tried to like match their realistic colours as closely as possible. And with the bugs, we just sort of... No, with the bugs, I tried to do like hyper realistic colours. And so like we've got a few options there if this does end up in the mix. Lots of earthy tones, yeah, cool. So I've got some like grey and some charcoal here. They are representing pretty accurately on both cameras, so I'm happy to use those. I want to turn the page, but I don't want to lose access to my cute little reference here, so we might just work him around some of these other pieces. So like from the side, just need another angle on the fella. He's very flat domed. You'd think after torkoal I wouldn't be that interested in rushing into another tortoiseshell, but it's a nice flat tortoiseshell with like some little scales around the outside. So I guess I'm more open to it than I otherwise would be. And I did like his like little scrunched face in the reference image I was looking at. And he had like little scrunched feet as well. Maybe we start off just by making one foot and see how we feel about it. Picking up a hook, sorry. Realistic colours, but they all get a fun hat. I'm allowed to mix the alligator and regular snapping turtles. Cool, so I'm just going to call it a snapping turtle then. You want him to make hats for all the reptiles, do you? Please note that this first jaunt out the gateway, I'm not going to be trying to like make it specifically no-so. If anything that we do today lends itself towards that, fantastic. Otherwise, I'm kind of just going to try and make the tiniest tortoise I can manage while packing as much detail in as we can. So that's the real challenge for today. And then converting things from sewn to no-so is something that I can do down the track if we decide to go down this path. And if it turns out well enough, it might just end up being a channel pattern. Like, goodness knows, I have a few of those banked at this point. I think we've got blobfish and the little... So you guys might know him as the little crystal dragon, but he's being redesigned into a T-Rex, so... Because he got a dunking, and so he's going to get like a little like tag and label like a little triangle tea bag. Protect channel. That's such a specific thing. CK, don't forget that the alligator version has a bifurcated worm pink tongue for attracting prey. That's important. All right, Kaylin, we spun the wheel just to give us something to work on today, and we're exploring the theme. This does not lock it in as our 12 days of crochet. I would have had a little bit more fanfare if we were going to, and I'm not going to sell a month of all of our lives collectively on the spin of a wheel. Nobody is that much of a sucker for punishment. So yeah, we're making one today with the idea being it might end up being the 12 days of crochet, but that's if we make that choice, and by we I mean if I make that choice, that's when that will happen. We are making a snapping tortoise. He's got a tiny little leg. Oh, look at this. Look at this little stepper. Beep. This is this. Tiny little leg for scrunching under tiny little shell. This is just going to be a tiny little thing. Gotta write it down. All night, RM McFrew. Thank you for hanging out. It's important. How else does he get snacks when he's in ambush predator mode? And it's a valid question. Where are my scissors? They must be in this box. Which is also currently full of Pokemon. Oh, night Amy, thank you for hanging out. As mentioned, today's stream is going to be just a little bit chiller. We're kind of just like finding our way forward. We're just going to make ourselves a little turtle. Will there be notes even if he doesn't make the cut? I'm writing them down. We'll see. We'll see if he turns out. He might end up just being like a little mini that we can make on the channel. But yeah. Let's just see if he even turns into anything before we start signing him up for work details. Because right now I'm writing a check that I'm not sure I can cash, just based on how tiny I just made that little leg. You're still here just lurking, that's good. I'm so sorry if you can hear the wailing of the damned coming from my stomach. I don't know why it's being melodramatic today. You learned something about snapping turtles yesterday. They have a kind of hose they breathe through when they shut their mouths. They put the hose up to their nostril to breathe. Hey, that's interesting. I learned something about echidnas. So there's this fella called, I think he's the long-beaked echidna. Now, the echidna that y'all are used to seeing is like, assuming you've seen one, it's kind of like this little thing, right? Just trundling along in the ground, doing his thing. But there's a long-nosed echidna that was widely considered to be extinct, but has recently been rediscovered through working with the locals in Indonesia and setting up like remote cameras. They've rediscovered, I think he's the long-nosed. I might be getting my nose lengths mixed up, but he looks a little bit more like this. He's like got proper legs and everything, and he trundles about the undergrowth. He's been seen for the first time in over 60 years, which is notable. Echidnas are adorable, but they have a lot of spikes. There is a trade-off to be made there. So that's my good news for the week. The echidnas are back. Haven't been counting properly. Just going to use the other leg as a guide. Have we considered raising awareness critters? It's a cool theme, but I don't want to bum everybody out on the lead up to Christmas. I am, as previously mentioned, a bit of an emotional lightweight, and so I think that theming it around, hey, these animals are doomed, is kind of a miserable way to spend a couple of weeks. Don't get me wrong, I think it's an important thing. Raising awareness, but I think that in general we all have a little bit too much awareness to way too many things. Fun fact, male echidna. Yes, Faye, I did know that fact. You nearly got me to read it on stream. Good for you. Very sneaky. Extinct and recovered. Oh yeah, no, extinct and recovered is fine. Because, like, that's why doing a lot better is on the list. And if we chose to go with extinct, it would be, like, dinosaurs and dodo birds, not anything recent and sad. Ooh, Fiberfest. I've never been to a Fiberfest. In fact, I can't remember the last time I went to a market. It's been a while. He's got some little kickers. Are we in focus today? Like at all? It's approximately in focus. Okay, so we have a little leggy for either side. Now, for this head, I really want to make sure that I make jaw. So he has to have... I wish I could find that first reference image I was using because it was really good. Oh, there it is. I kept it open on the other screen. Go, team. There's just going to be like little sketches of like pieces in and amongst the other lizards on this page. Because I don't want to turn the page because this is now a stimulating thing to look at. So I could just stitch on that line afterwards if I can get the rest of the shape right. Because this is a fellow with his head out of his shell. From the side it kind of looks like they kind of look like this. With like lots of skin foldy things, but I'm trying not to let myself get too caught up in the rolls, as it were. These little peepers go on top. Okay, so I could probably get away with just making a little triangle base. Maybe the tiniest little picot at the front to like be the tip of the jaw. At this scale, I would have to be foolish to do an open snap. Right? It's madness. Shouldn't even really be attempted. Why didn't I put claws on his little feet? He clearly has claws. Just... And he needed a roll around the top of each of these arms as well to build them into the body. Okay. Alright. Alright. I'm on a course. Devil in the details, that sounds awful. I'm sitting in a room with flowers at the moment, but that's because they don't have any artificial scent on them. I am horribly allergic to floral scents, and basically it means you can't take public transport during spring and summer, because for some reason people think that splashing about in horrifically bad smelling perfume is acceptable. It's one of those things I'll climb up my soapbox on. It's just rude. It's as rude to me as playing audio on your phone without headphones, which is also just really rude, by the way, in public spaces. Like, you don't own the soundscape. Leave everybody alone. That said, I can't remember the last time I was actually on a train. I used to take one to work. These days I take bunny slippers to work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, technically they're pandas, but, you know, it's the same thing. You need to see this turtle, the hardest working tortoise. You think abnormal is sorry, I called him abnormal. Abnormal is his name, but I know that he's actually a numal. You think numal is a tortoise? He doesn't give me tortoise vibes. You're allergic to mosquito bites, but also citronella. Oh no! How are you on bananas? Because if I remember correctly, which I might not. Fun fact. Not necessarily remember things correctly, but like eating bananas makes you tastier to mosquitoes. But if you've been bitten by a banana, if you've been bitten by a mosquito, then rubbing some banana peel on it can actually take the itch away. You're watching you on your... Don't watch me on your phone with no headphones and you're at work. Daiquiri. Okay, well that's different. It's different if there's like... Because to me, like, a work environment isn't a public environment. A work environment is a controlled space where if people have a problem, there's no, like, real hurdle to being like, oi, cut it out. There's ramifications. There's consequences if you're annoying people. Whereas, like, I feel like on public transport, that's just... It's like a wild freaking west out there. Oh my... Watch out for the biting bananas. Look, I knew approximately what I was trying to say, okay? I got us 80% of the way there. You guys need to do some of the lifting here as well. Noted here, it might be because you're just so sweet. I know that mosquitoes will eat me instead of Mr. Bones, but I think the answer there is obvious. I have all of the blood. It's just one of those downfalls to being a bag. Okay. I didn't know that you could use lemon eucalyptus oil for repellent, but I also just love the smell of lemon and eucalyptus oil together. It'll clear your sinuses right out. Okay, cool. Now he's got like a little bit more of a little baggy foot transition. I don't know why there is such a clear, distinct front to this when I actually didn't design a shape in. Honestly, the shape is the same the whole way around, mostly, with one minor distinction. So, like, there's no reason why one side of this should be so clearly the front, but one side of this is clearly the front. Let's say it's the right leg. Let's do the same on this one here. Here in America, if you tell someone to stop being rude with their order, you might get... Oh, no. Sorry. I should vet comments before I start reading them out loud. Chicken banana. That's literally all I know about the chicken banana song. I've been on... Okay, this might be outing myself because I know everybody's algorithm is a little bit different. But is anybody else on Radioactive Shrimp Talk? Because I can't avoid that song. It's just... I hadn't even heard it all the way through before it got firmly wedged in my brain. And then I had to introduce Mr. Bones as well to the Disco Snails song this week. And so we're on a real kick about like songs about little guys. Mum's entire family are allergic to cedar. Oh no. Yeah, the shrimp, right? See, I knew you guys would probably be in a similar place to me. Now, y'all know the song that's based on, right? Because the tune is exact. I don't want to, like, be starting anything. But, like, yeah. And Disco Snails, I just love the... Okay, it's almost a stim for me. It's the phrase, they have that oogie boogie deep within their buggy bodies. It's just like something about saying that sentence just releases all of the happy brain chemicals for me. Well, they're radioactive because they were taken from a toxic murky sea and dipped in something that would alarm the CDC. Nightshades aren't all poisonous plants. Tomatoes are nightshades. I mean, just also don't go out and just eat random berries. It's complicated snots. Complicated snots. Complicated knots. Advice for the day. No eating random berries, folks. Okay? Oh, I didn't know that there was an origin story to a Devil in the Details. Thank you. So apparently there was a recall on shrimp in the US because they were contaminated with cesium-137. The closest we have in our area is there was a recall on a certain type of coconut vegan yogurt because it accidentally got contaminated with dairy milk. And so they had to like strip it all off the shelves. And so now the yogurt section's real empty. It's not one that I've ever tried before, but like that's like you guys get radioactive shrimp. We get like slightly more dairy-filled yogurt. Though of course there was also the I think there was strawberries, like the needles in the strawberries incident from a few years ago. I'm pretty sure tomatoes are nightshades. Yeah, in fact, potatoes might be as well. This is me drawing on some real deep lore, though. Radioactive shrimp from Walmart. No idea what we're talking about. That's fine. Hey, cool. Potatoes are also nightshades. At one point they found a radioactive wasp nest in a nuclear testing site in the USA. Your brain thought, do you want supervillains? Because that's how you get them. No, I'm sorry, but like if history has proven anything, it's that if you were bitten by a radioactive insect adjacent creature, you become a hero. Okay, this is going to be the head, I believe. Currently we have 6 stitches around. I'm going to treat this one as the beak. Hi.
Complicated Knots' official position on the matter is do not let radioactive insects bite you.
Oh yeah, also that. No mystery berries. Don't let anything bite you, just as a rule of thumb. There's a fungi in Chernobyl that eats radioactivity. Yeah, no, that was really interesting to discover that. I'm also been fascinated recently by the studies being done with waxworms, or the experiments being done with waxworms, that eat plastic. Now, it's one of those things where, I don't know. It depends on how you feel about, like, animals being used for purposes counter to the animal's best interest. So I'm just like gonna like talk about this in a very general sense. But one of the interesting things to happen as part of that particular study is the waxworms are really happy to eat the plastic. They'll devour it at the same rate as their regular food. And, well, this is my understanding of everything anyway, but they live dramatically shortened lifespans because obviously there's just nothing in the food. It's just weird that if there's a like nutritious food next to this plastic, they will happily eat the plastic and live shorter lives. And the whole idea being is that like it helps consume a lot of the plastic waste in that we generate and turns it back into something that can be used as like fish food for fish farms and feeds back into like an ecosystem kind of thing. But yeah, it's just interesting that the waxworms are happy to eat something that doesn't actually nourish them, and in doing so I can't help but see a metaphor for humans. You know, mealworms eat plastic because they escaped your feeder bin by eating a hole in it. Well, think that, but at like a global scale. I'm way more comfortable with the idea of actual insects that eat plastic and help clean up that mess than I was when they were trying to like experiment with bacteria that eats plastic, because that's like an existential nightmare for me. Like, don't get me wrong, plastic waste is a problem, but you know how you know plastic's in everything, right? Everything we're wearing, everything we're eating, everything that we're living in. It's just like if they put a bacteria out there that eats the plastic, I don't want to fearmonger or fall down a conspiracy hole. So let's diverge. Sorry, I went off the rails there for a second. I consider myself largely uninformed on this subject, so don't take my opinion as anything other than the ramblings of an overtired crochet person. Today you learned that bookworms are a real thing. Oh, that's nice. All the books that I've ever had eaten were eaten by cockroaches. Strata living. You learned more about plants today than you thought you would. Alright, I need to write this row down because I did not, and that's where trouble lies. Cool. That should leave me with 8 stitches in my round. Because I just wanted to leave like one little loop as kind of like signifying the tip of the jaw. Random fact of the day, chickens are cannibals. That is correct. Did you know that it's not uncommon to see chickens wearing rose-colored glasses? It's because otherwise, if a chicken got injured, there would be a chance that the other chickens would start considering that chicken food. And if they can't see the red stuff, because everything looks red, that they aren't triggered if a chicken gets injured. And the chicken has a chance to recover. So yeah, you'll see a bunch of chickens walking around. Forgive me, in my very rudimentary chicken drawing. Wearing the coolest little shades that just like hook over their noses. They've got little pink glasses, little pink glass in them. It's a thing. What did I even do there? Come on, brain, you got to actually write this stuff down. One, two, and then I increased there, and so it must have been 2 before that as well. 2 increase. 1, 2, 3. A chicken running in pants. Honestly, any birds moving along across the ground brings me an immense amount of joy. It's just, they're so out of their element and they do not care because they are conserving their energy by running on their tiny little feet. Two? Don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Increase and then 1. Okay. Which gets up to 10. Tell you what I've been getting into recently is in like the last day. I've been watching a lot of, it's from Mythical Kitchen. It's the final meals or last meals. And I saw, I'm going to pronounce her name wrong. It's Simone. Okay. The person in me who wants to pronounce every letter, it's I know it's not said this way, but it's spelled like Gertz. And I know it's nothing even close to that. But she was talking about one of her food options was this edible clay, and how it was potentially tied in with anemia, but like there was just this edible clay, and like that was one of the items on her like final meal list of requests. And so they got this clay and they were eating this clay, and I'm just like, huh. I bet that crunches really nicely. I bet that feels like I bet that feels right when you bite into it. Wonderful new response to rose-tinted glasses unlocked. If I took them off, I may resort to cannibalism. Yeah, last meals. That's the one. Yeah, I love watching people who are otherwise considered as frivolous have really deep, interesting conversations. I find if they're already considered to be a very deep, interesting person, that I don't get as much out of the interaction. But I really like watching, in particular, YouTubers. Because like you tend to see them as like these frivolous, fluffy people who are just doing like happy little entertainment videos. And then just to see them like deconstruct the nature of death and existence is just fascinating to me. Because like it's like, oh cool, people have thoughts. That's really interesting to realize everyone's having thoughts. Yetch. Yes, that's the one. Yetch. Simone Yetch. She does like experiment type content or did for a while. And there was like a whole brain tumor thing. And admittedly, I haven't caught up with her recently. But yeah, I'm funny because like I really enjoy watching people more intelligent than me have big, intense conversations. But the people who I will like, okay, I'm a little bit of a fangirl for someone. And it's because of just like how he thinks about the world and how he I don't know, he's such an interesting person. If he's on one of these like interview shows, I'm going to be following him around watching all of his interviews. And it's Gordon Ramsay. And like it's so easy to like write him off as like the swearing Scottish guy, but that guy's a genius. That guy's a genius, and he thinks about things in a very interesting way, and I just really appreciate his whole like his life story is really interesting to me because he came from like this very humble place and just like built himself up into this like titan of his industry, and he moves so flexibly. He moves with the times, you know, like he came up in a time of traditional media and then has translated himself into like more contemporary media, and it's just, sorry, I'm just fangirling about Gordon Ramsay at midday on a Sunday. Yeah, exactly. And he does so much good, and so many people who, if they aren't paying attention, just think he's that swearing Scottish guy, and I'm just like, no, you have misunderstood this man. This man is just a man who knows his brand. And I just think he is himself. I just think that is who he is. Oh, night, Nimble Drake. Hope you feel better in the morning. Okay. I've also been getting into Smosh content, which I know I'm late to that show because I know it had its 20-year anniversary recently, but I had never watched it before. But I find that I don't really get into their sketch comedy type stuff, but I really like watching them talk about things. And so like I like watching their Reddit stories, and I like the podcast that they do where they're talking about things. I like watching people talk about things. I'm very adult in that respect. I don't want them to make me laugh. I like it when they make me laugh by accident. Gordon was hilarious on Hot Ones. Oh, I'll have to look that up. He's a swearing Scottish guy when he's knocking arrogant people down a peg, but he's a saint to people. Yeah, that's exactly it. He never punches down as well. It's like impossible not to notice once you've realized it. It's like if he's yelling at you, you probably need to be yelled at, because I have seen him like summon vast depths of empathy and do everything he can to help people if they are, I don't know, worthy seems like a loaded term, but I think you know what I mean there. Okay, I'm slowly growing a little chubby head. Let's just move on. That's going to be emerging. I think it needs to be one lot wider though. So that one there, we're at 10 around now, and I think I'm going up to 12. So we'll go 3 ink, 3 ink, 2. That should get us to 12. Smosh's board game stuff. Yeah, I've dabbled a little bit in that. I like a lot of the cast. It's just, I don't think sketch humor is my kind of thing. So like I've learned that I will watch literally anybody that they have on cast do just about anything. I just need to find the certain lines of things. Beppity. I really enjoy the Beppity series that they did as well. Been watching a lot of that. Halloween Baking Challenge with John Henson. I've not heard of that one there, but I am a big fan of cooking reality TV shows. Honestly, I like any kind of artistic competitive reality shows. If you catch me watching any of the dating shows, it's because I'm doing something that I call hate watching, but I think it might just be the way everybody consumes reality TV shows. I just didn't get it before. See, I can be a little bit literal sometimes, and I thought people were watching all of these reality shows because they were intrigued by them, like I don't know because of active enjoyment, but I actually think we all watch them because either a sense of irony or because we hate watch. It's just like you get to heckle them as you watch them. It's just like as soon as you adopt that mentality, suddenly those reality shows are really fun. But I don't think anyone's watching them seriously. And if you are though, I apologize. It's just me finding an understanding with the world. It is not me making a judgment about the people. Sorted Food, where they critique weird food gadgets, is your favourite. They also have collabed with Mythical Kitchen before. I've been watching some. I loved some who memed it, but I feel like I'm missing the context of who the people are. I feel like a lot of the fun there is generated by knowing, like being able to guess who created the memes and getting all the in-jokes, and I'm a little too new to Smosh to get them properly yet, but I'm working on it. I mean, I've watched literally the entire playlist of the Reddit stories. That's just the most ultimate background noise when you've got a lot to do for a day. And I think that you get a real insight into who some of these people are as people, and who has good takes and who has just trash takes. So yeah. I used to watch offline TV. I don't know. At a certain point, our roads diverged, but offline TV used to be like the grouping that I followed, and then there was. Let's see, I watched Critical Role for a bit. I'm trying to think about it because there was somebody else. It's adjacent to the. Oh, it's the Try Guys that I'm thinking of. I liked the Try Guys. I still listen to their tripod to fall asleep. They are just like, they have soothing voices. I don't know what it is about it. They're just 5 minutes. I'm out. Hi.
Michael Reeves.
Yeah.
Awesome YouTuber. Even though he only uploads once a year.
If that. That's a dude that's living his best life, though. That's not a dude who does not care if he's famous or not. He's just doing... Like, Jenny Nicholson is another one who fits that category, by the way. Michael Reeves and Jenny Nicholson are like two people, same font. It's just like, they're going to post exactly as much as they feel like it, and when they post, I'm going to stop everything and I'm going to watch it. And sometimes that means I'm going to watch a 3-hour documentary on The Land Before Time, or the new Star Wars destination thing opening up somewhere, or some guy getting lost in the desert, or getting sprayed in the face with Monster. It's like, I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna watch. I am. You've defaulted to just watching just makers on YouTube. Anyone making stuff is a comfort. I find it really hard to find, like, I believe I've said this before, but I'll say it again just to provide context here. I find that I can't watch or enjoy crochet content. Part of that is that I'm just too jealous of a person. In that if I see someone doing something well, I'm jealous it's not me. And if I see someone doing something badly, I want to fix it, and I feel like it is not my place to criticize another person, if that makes sense. So like I just straight up can't watch it. But I like watching people make like those posable dolls. I like people painting or drawing or coloring in or doing any other type of art. I really, really like. And Jazza was my go-to for a while, but I don't know, he doesn't seem to be the vibe I need right now. So I'm having a hard time, and so I've been defaulting to like more talking stuff instead of visual stuff. Oh, Kaylin, sorry, I didn't realize that you just literally asked that question. Yeah, no, I do watch a little bit of Skein Spider every now and then, but yeah, this is not me being against the community. I know that there's a lot of amazing people out there in the crochet community space making incredible works. I just don't like the person I turn into when I watch that stuff, so I don't. Oh, woodworking would be fun, but like to me it's so much more about the person doing the woodworking. I watched some Alex Steele for a while there. That was through Mr. Bones, though, as opposed to seeking it out independently. I like watching people create. Yeah, it makes sense for the content vibe would have changed, though. I mean, like, mine's definitely changed over the last 5 years, and it'll probably shift as well over the next 5 years. It's just like, we're all people separate from the people we're playing online. No matter how, like, I consider myself to be very close to the person I play online, because I'm not actively trying to be someone else. I'm trying to be a slightly happier version of myself, but, like, that's it. So, but, like, even then, you grow and change a lot over 5 years of experiences or 10 years of experiences. And so it makes sense that channels who are based heavily on personality, like mine is, and I would also include Jazz's in that, are going to like grow and shift and change with that person, and their priorities are going to grow and shift and change. And so it's like it's the unnatural thing would be if the content didn't change over the course of that amount of time. Bobby Duke. I feel like I've seen some of Bobby Duke's thumbnails, and I've definitely watched some of his projects. He makes like those this is not a judgment, this is me trying to make a description of some of the equipment he uses sometimes. Like the trash art sculptures that turn out just incredible beyond all belief. Is that the right guy? No, he's the guy who did the frame for the art collab that circled YouTube and is friends with Evan and Caitlin. Oh, there's so many people. I need like a string and board. Kapia Creations seems like the sweetest little cinnamon roll of a person, and I do love her stuff. She disappeared for a while, but I think she's back now. I need to look up that latest video, because I know she released the tiger thing from Demon Hunters. That's the one. What was the argument? Sorry, I missed. Where are you, Bottega? I'm coming back up to find the question. wasn't about me. Excellent. Okay, we could still carry on. Yeah, see, puppet makers, animatronic makers, all that kind of thing. It's just watching anybody create anything, I find inspiring because I want to take elements of what they're making and like pull it into my realm and play with it and see if it can be like mashed together. That is where I derive my inspirations from. Though as mentioned, right now I have a problem with too many ideas, not enough time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. Okay, I think I already did a round of 12 single crochet. I did. Right, I think I want to start like pulling in the sides again now because like if his head goes here, his little feet stick out. I know this is going very slowly, folks, but unfortunately that's the problem when you're not like fully set on exactly what size and shape things are meant to be. Because like free form is a little bit more difficult than prescribed shapes already. Can we please get a crochet derpy tiger from Demon Hunters? I would have to track down and watch that movie first. And I do think that it has potentially passed its moment in the sun. And I also think that potentially if you went looking, you could possibly find a lot of patterns out there already. I don't like to retread the same territory, which is why I'm going to try and get that Silk Song video out this week. Because then I can do it before I see, like, don't get me wrong, I'm sure other people have already released stuff for it, but like I haven't seen any of it yet. So that's the optimal moment to do it. Oh my goodness, why can I never remember her name when I need it? Okay, the crocheter, right? She used to make crochet content, then she bought an abandoned house, and then her and her partner Nick, I remember his name because she chants it sometimes, are like renovating this whole house. They're in Canada. It's been like a 70 episode series at this point that like I cannot look away from. I cannot break eye contact from it. Jenna Phipps, thank you. I knew one of you would be able to provide the name. It's just like, don't know why the name won't stick in my brain because like, if you aren't following that like house renovation series, even if you don't like house renovation content, go back and start that series and just watch it. It is so good, but I didn't find her until after she'd left the crochet space. And at this point, I'm so, like, I enjoy watching her videos. And so she puts out a crochet video. I'm probably going to try it. But I don't have high hopes because like that kind of content just doesn't seem to hit with me, which is very strange given what I do for a living. Oh, pottery, yes. Pottery to the people I've not heard of, but pottery. Ceramic shenanigans is a great way to put it. Didn't write this road down at all. Am I going to regret that? Absolutely I am. I'm going to do a quick attempt to work out what it was that I did. I think I did 3 single crochet and then some increases. And then 3 single crochet up the side again. Well, let's see, shall we? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Increase, increase. 1, 2, 3. Hey, perfect. My brain's counting even when my mind is busy. Florian gaps. Watch a lot of HGTV. I do not have access to that. But yeah, this is, yeah. I very much enjoy her renovating this specific home. Her editing style is quite engaging and dynamic as well. Like you really feel for them. My goodness, I've never cried over a house before, but I have now. Decrease, and then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. I feel like even if this doesn't read as snapping turtle, it should at least read as turtle, which is kind of like, at least we're doing something today. Mop. You talking about Mop? He's a good boy, Mop. It's the name of my puppet for anyone just listening in. It's more the sound he makes, but I kind of just sort of stuck as a name. 4 single crochet, 2 increases, and 4 more single crochet. That gets us actually up to 13, not 12. Night Sour Sprout. I do wish it was easier to find design and art content on YouTube because it's not even a category. Like games is its own category, music is its own category. You know what I mean? Like there's so many categories on there, but I have to pick between putting mine in entertainment or how to. And you can't even like it's not even one of like the options you can pick from. You can't pick to look at just how to. I don't know. I just feel like it's letting down. There's a massive art community on YouTube, and it just feels weird to me that they don't have an easier way of finding them, because we all know that the YouTube search function is rubbish, right? You got to use Google to search for things and hope that the link takes you to a decent place on YouTube. I have already shown him, but I will try and pull him back in if he holds himself together. He's very pinny at the moment, so not locked into a final pose or anything. That's why he can still like wiggle around a little bit. He does hold himself up. No. And he's just a little taller than Onyx, so dramatic worm. Come on, man. I worked on him for about, goodness, it must have been about 5 or 6 hours yesterday. It's all I could give him this week because of the Pokemon video running long, but he's coming together. Okay, we tuck those up under the chin like this. I'm going to try and make the body out of the rest of this shape now that we've flared out. So we'll flare out the sides a little bit more. So we'll put one there and one there, I think, is even. Just folding it to work out where the edges are. And then I can just chuck an increase. It's looking like it's right at that last end of the row. And then like there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's fine, I can work with that. Do I want it to be longer on the bottom than on the top? Wait, are those numbers adding up? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 4, 5. And that would be there. No, it's 4 and it's... No, 5 and then there. And there. Cool, I've worked it out. Increase 3, crochet, increase 3, and then 1 at the end. It's going to get us up to 17, which again, still a gross number, but the smaller a pattern is, the more likely you are to be working with... Oh, hey, he's shedding. It's a Gyarados scale. The repair shop? Ooh, that's fun. Again, it's like I am absolutely interested in the subject matter, but I find that so much of it depends on editing style and storytelling as to whether or not I'm going to be able to watch it. Like, I also really like watching people deep clean people's houses, but I've never found one that quite scratches the itch the way I want it to be scratched, because I can't quantify how I want it to be scratched, and that's a problem. Like, you guys can list a bunch of cleaning content right now, and I've almost definitely watched them and enjoyed them at some point, but it's like I have to be in a very specific mood to watch theirs. Or I've been looking for like more of a general one that just kind of like makes me feel better about not currently cleaning my own house. 1, 2, 3, 4. And by that I just mean like I don't have time. There's always that like lingering sense of guilt that my house isn't kept in a slightly cleaner state. But that just is what it is. Gamers, yeah, I've slowly collected a handful of gamers I will watch. Used to be bigger, but I find a lot of people end up leaving the platform after not very long. It tends to be people who niche down into a single game and then discover that they don't love the game as much as that they thought they did. Yeah, Finito's on the big side, but I kind of like he's small enough that he blends nicely with the rest of them, but he's large enough that he kind of looms just over the top the way I feel like he should. And so like he's just like, I feel like we've actually gotten him the perfect size. Yeah, Midwest Magic is the one that I go to when I need to watch something. But it's just like, I can't work out exactly, none of them are quite nailing the exact level of detail I want to see. And I think that maybe what I'm looking for just doesn't exist. And that's fine. It doesn't have to exist. But it's just one of those things of just like, I'm ever questing for like the perfect cleaning channel. And if I could ever work out what it actually was. But I think that what it is that like, you know how sometimes you have a food craving and you try to eat something else that's like adjacent to the food you're craving to try and like stave it off. But in the end, you're better off just trying to seek out the specific food. I think that the specific food I'm craving is a clean house. And the food that I'm trying to like distract myself with is the YouTube videos. And so of course they're not hitting properly because at the end of them my house is still needing a little bit of love. You like the game, Grumps? In terms of gaming content, I really like watching Shawnee do. He just seems like a happy little bean. Been watching him since his Stardew days, so honestly I think his content's come a long way and it's better now. Yeah, like if his Stardew quality was the same as the quality he's putting out now, yeah, I just think it's he has grown as a creator, and I think that's really cool. Yeah, see, I think that's the problem. I want to watch some sort of hoarder level like quality clean of going from a hoarder place to like an immaculate, perfect, beautiful place. But I want it to look easy, and I don't want there to be like a complicated emotional component to it. And I know that's just not reality. Of course, you can ask me a crochet or amigurumi related question. In fact, that's probably more relevant than what we're currently talking about. Satisfactory megapodding? I wouldn't even count it as a megapodding. Because like I easily could have ended up going bigger. Though honestly it's the sewing that's slowing me down. He has the right number of body segments now. This is Gyarados for anyone struggling to keep up with my twitchy brain. But he has the right number of body segments. I've done, I think it's 13, and then the shoulder hump and the head and the tail fin. Fortunately, all of those 13 things each need their own individual belly piece, which is another 13 pieces, and 2 scales a piece, which is another 26 pieces. And they all need to be sewn on quite specifically, and so that's what's taking so long. I've paid for house cleaning before. When I lived with housemates, there was like 3 to 4 of us living under the same roof. We were all busy people. We had jobs to do. We were adults. As in, like, we were all in our, like, late 20s. And, none of us wanted to clean the dang toilet. So we paid a cleaner to come in once a week to do the wet areas of the house. They did the bathroom and the kitchen. And between the 4 of us, the cost was negligible, and we just straight up never had to even think about chores. It was good. I would do it again if I didn't have such a massive boundary issue now that I have, like, Mr. Bones obviously lives here now, obviously, but like my own space. I just like I have a real weirdness about people entering that space. I get kind of twitchy about it. Legitimately. Oh yeah, no, notice here. Sorry, I didn't read the second half of that about to catch up to something you can better maintain on your own. That is absolutely a real thing, because yeah, maintaining something at a clean state is significantly easier and takes less effort than it does to get it back to status quo. I've heard that the number one thing you can do to help people who are mentally struggling with a new baby, struggling with a new living dynamic situation, struggling because they suddenly have like massive increase in work hours. If you are friends with any of the people who might be time poor or struggling, one of the best things you can do for them is go to their house and just mop their floor for them. Don't ask. Just be like, show up and be like, hey, where's your mop? I'm going to clean your dishes real quick. And like, they'll feel better afterwards. In general, they'll feel better afterwards. I mean, obviously you can like read the room, but like, don't show up to new parents' houses and think you're helping just by holding the baby necessarily, because you're getting a lot out of that. But more than that, they probably need somebody to help fold laundry. I need to clean but don't want to have a video call on Monday. That's what Teams backgrounds are for, right? Look, you only need to clean the angle that the camera can see. This is something I have leveraged multiple times. You may notice that there's a whole, like, possibly year of content for me where the camera doesn't move. It points very specifically at a single wall, and sometimes there'll be moments when the camera shows slightly wider angles. Just like, that's deliberate. It's depending on how much energy I've had that week. I haven't been tracking what I'm doing with the hook, so we're going to just work it out together later. I think I put a safety marker thingy in. Your husband's job provided your house as a job benefit. That's really cool. Well, 3 stories is a lot of people. Yeah, and first home as well. Oh my goodness. So like I I was a renter for a long time, and then I do, like, this is my apartment, I am paying it off. Doesn't have the tree that I long for, but like it's a good little apartment. I'm a fan. Huge shift when you like leave the like renting a room phase into a this is a your space phase. It's just like there are so many things that you don't even realize are your responsibility to look after. And like I don't understand why houses, even rentals, don't come with full-on manuals about things like, hey, this is where the water shut-off valve is, and this is your fuse box, and some fuse boxes aren't even labeled. Mine thankfully is. This is where your pipes run. This light switch, don't touch it. Don't touch that light switch. What would I recommend to someone who is distracted by herself, so it's hard for her to work on amigurumi in continuous rounds, so she closes them, and there's that mark of the union. Okay, well, I'm not necessarily an expert in that space. I'm not an expert in that space because I choose to work in a continuous spiral. And so my patterns are all designed for a continuous spiral because I don't like that little joining ladder look. I'd rather have just a little bit of drift and deal with some crookedness. I can give you advice on how to make working in the spiral easier for you, but I can't really give you advice on how to hide that ladder other than if you're designing it for yourself, tuck it underneath or put it somewhere where you're sewing something over the top. So like if you're attaching legs, run it down the side. If you're attaching a shell, run it straight down the back, that kind of thing. Like put it somewhere you can hide it. If you're working in a continuous spiral though, bobby pin. It's a bobby pin. You could also use a stitch marker, scrap piece of yarn, but I find bobby pins hold perfectly and they're so easy to like slide in and out. Bobby pins are a good vibe. Every time you reach the end of a row, I don't want to move this one because I haven't written down what we're doing yet. You just pop the bobby pin in at the end of the row and then it's just like your work, it's just like you've chained one and moved up a line. It's like, okay, cool. So now I'm working this row. And even if I lose track of what I'm doing, I know that that bobby pin is in the end of my row. And so if I reach 5 stitches in, that's 4. I don't know why I picked 5. If I pick 5, if I'm 5 stitches in, I'm like, oh, I've lost track of what I'm supposed to do. I just have to frog back to this stitch. And we're back on track again. And so like literally just chucking a stitch marker in at the end of each row will have you working continuous spirals with no problems, in my opinion. I did add a stitch marker. It's about 3 rows down. Each row is 10 to 18 stitches, 20 at most. I actually think there's 17, but thank you. Yeah, I had a feeling I was just doing single crochet, but because I haven't been counting, I get a little bit twitchy about it. Plus, it's very weird for me sometimes to look down and realize that my hands have been continuing to work while my brain has just been somewhere else. So much of what I do now is muscle memory after doing this for 5 years that I'm just like, I have a vague notion of the shape I'm trying to make, and then I'm just like chatting away and I look down and I'm making it. I'm just like, huh, that's intensely suspicious. Who told you how to do that? Congratulations on the crown, Tani. We don't know how it works. Do I tend to put the bobby pin through both loops or just the front loop? Honestly, probably just the front loop, but I don't know why. I think it's just a habit. I think it's because if I put it through just the front loop, if I had to posit a theory, it's more likely to drape to the front, whereas like if you put it through both loops, it can kind of like, you can't stitch with it already in the stitch, as an explanation. That's just through the front loop, and so I can really easily still work my stitch before moving it. If it's through both, it takes up slightly more space. And I dropped a stitch there. If it's through both, it takes up slightly more space and it flips around as you try and work the stitch. If it's through the front loop, it holds itself on the outside of the work and stays out of the way. You are good. We are up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows around of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not how you... 1, 2, 3. Oh, wow, it's 2 hours in as well. Oh, you get confused when I use my marker. Yeah, I don't know why I pick last stitch of a round. I think it's because like I like to finish a round and then move my stitch marker. Whereas like if you do it in the first stitch of the round, then you have to do the first stitch of the round and then move your stitch marker, and that just doesn't feel as like organic to me. That doesn't work with my brain. So yeah, I do it in the last stitch of the round. There's absolutely nothing functionally wrong with using the first stitch instead, unless I've specifically said, hey, you got to mark the last stitch because of X, Y, and Z. Okay. I'm worried she's going to just look like a generic tortoise, but I think that's a risk we might just have to take. She is long though, so we do need a little bit more. So we're not done yet. I'm going to move this one now though, because I have written down what we're up to. I think she's going to be a sweet little tortie. I just don't know if she's going to quite read as snapping tortoise. Turtle. What's the difference? Do snapping tortoises exist? Or have I just like... I'm having a moment. Use a hoop earring as a stitch marker? Perfect. Anything you can like snap in and out really fast. Like I like bobby pins because I can do it with one hand. And even with my little lefty who does his best. I don't know why it's he, but okay. I am very right hand dominant, but I try and teach my left hand to make do. And so like if I can manipulate my stitch marker using just like one hand, that's perfect. So I don't like the safety pinny ones because they're a little bit complex for poor lefty. The union made your eyes twitch. Yeah, I can. Yeah, all of mine, like all of my color markings, all of my like stitch placements and everything else have been designed with my specific level of drift. Basically every 3 rows, my stitches have moved 1 stitch to the right. And so like they would sit very different. I understand that like working joined rows doesn't necessarily pull everything straight because the stitches themselves are inherently on a bit of an angle, but like it would definitely look different with the little ladder, and I don't design to minimize the ladder either. So yeah, I can imagine how the ways that would go. Snapping tortoises do not exist. The difference between a turtle and a tortoise is the adaptations to their habitat. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's what I thought, but like for some reason I feel like snapping tortoises were the thing my child brain knew about. And even as an adult, I'm trying to like correct it and let myself know that they are snapping turtles. Oh yeah, that makes sense, Viara. If you're using yarn as a stitch marker, it's way easier to like fold it back and forth, and marking a front stitch makes perfect sense in that regard. I think that's enough of that. Unfortunately, drift has carried the end of my row right to this edge, right when I'm going to want to start decreasing, and I would have liked to use single crochet 3 togethers, but like they're almost impossible to keep balanced when the one you would work overlaps the end of the row. I used to not be quite as much of a stickler about that, but it really irritates the internet people if you write patterns with stitches that overlap rows. So I try to just avoid it now. So we'll do a decrease at the start and a decrease at the end, which you can use as a substitution for single crochet 3 together, but I'd rather just mirror the exact same stitches on both sides for the purposes of today. So just folding it in half here, it helps me identify these 2 stitches and these 2 stitches. And I know I want to do a decrease at the start of this row, and that leaves me 4 stitches in between. That's how we work out what we're doing. And we want 2 stitches at the end. 2 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool. Just sometimes it makes sense, even if you could mathematically calculate it, just to check it on the actual thing. Don't need you. Thank you though. Make sure that your stitch count does still line up, because every so often I find that I've gained a stitch or just miscounted at a certain point, particularly when I'm just using landmarks to help track everything out. And so every 3 or 4 rows I do try and like map everything out specifically on the stitches I'm using and just make sure it all works in reality. How hard is amigurumi as a lefty? Huh. That's interesting that the drift goes to the left, but it also makes sense. I've recently been doing that thing So, alright. I'm a righty, which means my stitches drift to the right. But when, you know how when you're working a flat piece, you'd like turn it over, and so you end up with stitches that kind of like one row leans this way, and then you've turned it around, and then on the finished product, the stitches like, and you end up with like a very rough looking chevron pattern. Well, recently I've been doing that thing where on the wrong side rows, I insert my hook from the back of the work instead of the front. And it means that all of my stitches have kind of like, they all kind of face the same way and get the same lean to them, which is nice. It's a good look. I like it. Mr. Bones is a southpaw. He's a lefty. My mum's a lefty too. In fact, for something that's supposed to only be like 5% of the population or something like, isn't it meant to be like really low? I feel like I know a disproportionate number of left-handed people. And that's because I don't know many people. I understand that knowing like a couple of left-handed people is normal, but like I don't know that many people, and I feel like a lot of them are left-handed. Oh hey, I do always find it interesting when somebody is like, oh hey, I'm a left-handed, and I'm like, cool. I've seen you make my patterns. That means my patterns work for left-handed people. It's just like one of those ongoing things because like I can't like personally test for that. I can't stitch left-handed. Maybe I should learn. See, look, so many left-handed people right here in the chat, and the chat is just not that big.
Gonna make a request. Can we do a left-right-handed poll?
Oh, yeah, sure. Hey guys. Self-identify if you are comfortable. And I'm going to include Ambi in the mix. But please note that like I don't mean you can do. I know some left-handed people can do like a lot of things with their right hand. I mean, like if you were writing with both hands, heck, if you identify as Ambi's fine. I was just like, I kind of mean like if you were writing, you can write just as legibly with either hand, as a rule of thumb there for Ambi. Because my poor mum went to a school that was governed by nuns, and while she is left-handed, they did not support that during the time when she was going to school. And so now she's very confused when she tries to reach for things, because she's been conditioned. It's 10%. Okay. Let's see if that's represented here in the chat, because it's looking like we are closer to like 30% left-handed here, which is very interesting. Might be a situation of like people finding each other. Yeah, like I have observed, these are not data trends, but I've observed certain types of people that my content tends to appeal to more. None of it negative, but I also don't want to be one of those people diagnosing folks on the internet. And it's just like, there seems to be a group of us that have collectively decided that the way I communicate things is fine. I can write equally badly with both hands. Yes. It didn't say it had to be good. Didn't say, oh, I said equally as good, which is the same thing as equally as bad. Equal is equal. Thank you for all the tasty, tasty data. Exactly. Yeah, same vibe, BC Butterfly, older half-sister starting with your left and then being forced through some regard to change to your right hand. Honestly, there are so many sorry, Jackie, I'm reading your comment here. It's like there are so many reasons to wear your watch on the opposite wrist, depending on what you do for work, depending on what you're doing for your hobbies, depending on what you're doing that day. So, heck, I get some, like, strainy type injuries sometimes, and I'll swap my watch to my other wrist. Like, there are plenty of legitimate reasons to wear your watch on whatever arm you feel like it, even if there is kind of like the social standard of the non-standard hand. Lefty can hold a pencil okay, right? Lefty knows the grip. Lefty gets very confused as soon as, because like my brain keeps trying to like go, okay, now do this. And it's just like, okay. And we're writing all of the letters backwards because my brain is trying to mirror it. And instead it's mirroring it, you know? Like, and not very neatly either. So like my brain, I've clearly memorized the paths of letters. Sorry, just as an example here. Oh no, B is around the right way. C is around the right way. D is fine. E is backwards. I'm now questioning everything I know about F. Because I looked at these letters, I'm just like, those are all backwards. And then I wrote them with my right hand, I'm just like, no, and I don't know if that's an F. What does F look like? Okay, no, both of those F's are backwards. I swear I'm literate. Teaching yourself to be ambitious is like cool. That's what I mean about like I'm trying to give Lefty tasks to do. I like to be a little bit more. The F is backwards. It's alright. I worked it out. Like, why does it look wrong? It's because I cross my sevens. It's a side effect of calculus. Like I dot my O's and I strike my sevens. Because whenever you're doing any kind of math or anything that involves letters and numbers, and your handwriting isn't, you know, digitally perfect, it just makes a lot of sense to have markers that indicate the difference between letters that are and numbers that are otherwise the same shapes. You're a decrease. You're a single. And you're a decrease. Okay. Closing off the back of this little guy, and then we're gonna extend out into a tail, because I know that they've got tails, but we're just not quite there yet. We are getting there though. To do the little fella again, there's definitely ways I could have attached the shell in the same layer. But sewing something on can be fun too. What are we around at the moment anyway? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, cool, we're at 9. Three, 4. Decrease and 1. And a decrease. CK in 8 years. Mr. Bones, why are there a bunch of 7s and Fs on this page? What happened during this stream? Well, yeah, honey, it's your job to know that. No, the question will be, why are there a bunch of Fs on this page and why are they all backwards? If anyone needs an example of why I'm so, of what I mean when I say today is a tired stream, I forgot how to write the letter F. Well, see, I can read cursive. I can throw pencils really effectively, actually. Hold on. Okay. And, I can write cursive, too. So it's like A, B, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. Never got my pen license. But I do like to think that I write quite legibly when given enough motivation to. Yes, we are designing a little reptile today that does not have any standing whatsoever on what any other themes might be in future. We may never see this pattern again. We're just making a little guy today. Just to take a little break from all the other little guys we've been making. Okay, 7. And 1. Back. 1 and 2. We did 7, and then we did 2, a decrease, and then 3. Then we'll do 1, a decrease, and then 3. And then we'll do decrease, and then 3. No, then we'll do 1, decrease, and then 2. Dang it. That radioactive shrimp from Walmart is a sticky one. One time you were so tired you ended up asking what was in a cheese omelette. I think you did good. Thank you. Don't get me wrong. I've had a bare minimum of sleep. I got 6 hours or so, but I'm very much a 9 hours type of girly, and we're just running a little low. We popped a Barocca this morning. We are a little augmented, and we're just doing our best. Pen license was the reward in Australian schools for having good handwriting. I never got one. Honey, I never got one either. And then at one point the next year they were just like, no, we require you to write this in pen. And I was just like, okay, cool. I guess it was just an arbitrary arbitrary method thingy used to keep people down. Your entire class got 1 out of pity. I will say, while they kind of just stopped giving them out at a certain point, I did have one teacher who I actually remember very fondly, but she was considered to be quite like a tough teacher, quite a stern teacher. And if our handwriting wasn't considered neat enough when we turned in like an essay or whatever, she would give it back to us and say, write it again. And we would have to do it as many times as needed. I think I only ever had to do that once. And then I got it. Okay, cool. So you take a deep breath, you slow down slightly, you do it right the first time, and then you get to go out to lunch earlier. Or there's more time for reading in class. That old thing. And because of that, like, I won't say that my writing has maintained the quality, but I will say that anybody who picks up any of my notebooks will be able to read most of what I've scrawled across them. Mr. Bones, prolific auteur that he is, has 100 notebooks stashed around this house, and I could not read a single one of them, despite my best efforts and despite us being together for like 8 years now. Brain goes too fast for neat handwriting. Yeah, I will say that when we got a computer at home, because like, yeah, I grew up during the time when there wasn't a computer in every home. When we got a computer at home, it almost like it opened my world, because suddenly I could write down my thoughts as quickly as I could have them. And that's kind of game changing in a world when like everything is so slow. But I will say that like there is a lot of power and importance to slowing down as well. And I think that I personally have forgotten that over the years, and I have to remind myself about that. It's like, just because we can go super fast doesn't mean it's the best condition for us to exist in. There's our little wormy. And I do have some pins left. They're not all in Gary. So let me just grab another tortoise. Hardest working. And the tortoise gang is doing quite well for itself these days, actually. We've also got Tall Cole sitting around. My signature is like my full name, to the point where like when I have to sign for stuff at like the post office or whatever, I get I kind of get an eye roll. I really need to modernize my signature. I don't want to show it on the internet for various safety reasons, but like I fully like it takes a moment. No, she's not super tortoise. It's just they seem to be in kind of like a flatty type of pose. So we're just making them flatty. I don't think the 12 days will ever have this much sewing, but it's a prototype. I'm allowed to just do what I like. We want to make a mini tortoise? Let's make a mini tortoise. Sorry. Snapping turtle. I'm sorry. I left off the toenails and it's changing how I feel about things. Okay, so we need 2 more squishy little legs. They're basically the same thing. Well, that's the thing. You literally only legally have to, like, leave a mark. And, like, if I try and do it slowly so that it looks fancy, because, like, sometimes you want it to be, like, a fancy signature because it's on something important. The slower I try to do it, the more messed up it looks.
My favourite is when they have dogs that are in official positions and they have to give their signature, so they do the paw print. Like the dog who was a mayor and like some of like the police dogs and stuff, they have to give like the official signature of like...
You're going to jail, Greg. Your first and last name is a combined 17 letters. That's amazing, because like I'm complaining about writing my whole name as my signature, but I'll also point out that my first name and last name is 9 letters combined. Like, I think, hang on a second. Yeah, I'm 14 letters if I include my middle name. It's just like, I am to the point. I do think it's quite an ugly name, but it is what it is. Every tortoise is a turtle, not every turtle is a tortoise. Yes. Sorry, I do understand that there is a distinction and a difference. It's just, because I thought of them as snapping tortoises for so long in my life. That's good though. I'm starting to like correct back the other way. I'm having a hard time like rubber banding between the two. That's so funny, BC Butterfly. In school, I used to sign my mum's name with her permission, and the one time she signed a form, they called home thinking you'd forged her signature. That's so funny. 25 letters isn't a name, it's an alphabet. This is funny because, like, hold on a second. Because I have siblings, right? And while my entire combined name is 14 letters, I want to do my older sister here for a second. Hold on. $22. Yeah. 22 for my older sister. So like, Mr. Bones, that is... I thought we weren't revealing your name. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with my 14 letters. 14 letters is very, like, fits on every form you can imagine. I don't run into any problems. It's like, anytime you have, like, a really long name, filling out, like, physical forms becomes a problem. And digital forms are almost worse, because on physical forms you can kind of, like, keep writing, and a human being at some point is going to look and be like, okay, yeah, I understand that Gregory Arthur Shellington III couldn't fit into 12 boxes. But then, like, if it's a digital form and you run out of room, you might go down in history forever as Gregory Arthur Shelling. On, like... On some official forms you're Shellington, and on some others you're just Shelling, and it's just like, that's a problem. Oh, it looks like an H. Skellington makes so much more sense. OMG, we got bone law. Fresh bone law dropping. You always ran into your last name getting cut off for school emails. Well, that and it's wild what some email addresses turn out as, because you know how some workplaces do like a certain number of letters from your surname and a certain number of letters from your first name, and it's something that no parent ever checked for our generation because it wasn't a thing when we were born, but it became a thing as we hit adulthood. And some people ended up with some really rough usernames. Mine was a real word, but it wasn't so bad. I think it's one more row. Named after your father, but you have a middle name. The government hates using middle names, so we have trouble with mail and documents. Yeah, I'll admit that my middle name is on some things and not others. And that can actually be a real hassle, a real problem, if you ever need to get like legal documents and prove your identity. Angry Bear has the same problem? That makes sense. Your initials are PS. You know what? That's not as bad as it could be. Because I come from a long line of people with the exact same initials. Including sisters and cousins and now my sister-in-law, who may as well just be a sister. It's like, we all have the same initials. It's alright, honey. They went past. gonna be a cute little guy, but I forgot to give you eyes. I meant to give you, like, safety eyes because I thought they'd be cute, but that ship sailed. You do background checks for a living? That must be so interesting. Oh, I want, but I won't. Thank you. Probably because the stream is going to end once we finish the tortoise here, so... Little guy's cute, though. Yeah, I used to do... Okay, feel like I've lived a million lifetimes sometimes, but, like, one of them was I worked in real estate. And I used to be a property management assistant, and I used to do the checks for tenancy applications, which were as basic as you can imagine. We just call up and verify that people aren't, like, they have people in their life that vouch for them, is the gist of it. It's as simple and as complicated as it was, but, you know, like, you got to have a little nosy around sometimes, because they had to supply certain documents, and you got to, like, find out a lot about a person you'd never met. Which can be a very interesting thing. Of course, you never do anything with that information because there's integrity. But, like, you know, sometimes it's interesting to know stuff about people. How do I get the crown? Kitty Basket, we are not fully sure about that. We think it's just a timed thing that distributes itself as randomly as possible. But enjoy it while you're wearing it. Okay. You're in good company. Crowns are fickle. They are. When we hear sirens, do we have to hide the skeleton? Well, actually, it's pretty easy during Halloween. People just think it's a cool costume. So, like, as we, like, honestly, with the season creeping earlier and earlier every year, Mr. Bones gets more months of freedom. In fact, these days he can pretty much go outside anytime from the start of August through to the end, like, just before Christmas. People start getting cranky if he goes out on actual Christmas, though.
From the Bottega channel?
Okay.
It's funny because Mr. Bones' middle name, Arthur, comes from the Old English word meaning bear. Hence, he's actually named Gregory Bear Bones III. Love that. Arctus Horribilis.
Hey, you know what would be funnier? If my middle name was like Ursula, and then we could both have names deriven from bears.
Ursine. Yes.
Why did I just picture Mr. Bones as a skeleton in a dungeon against the wall with, like, a sword and potion? But, like, Kaylin, we don't talk about this sort of thing on stream.
Wait, what?
It's not a career I ever expected to get into, but it's fascinating, especially for a true crime lover. Yeah, it would be. And that's the thing. It's like if you're lucky enough to have somebody attempt to guide you. Oh, sorry, I'll close off the poll. Thank you to everyone who voted, by the way. So it turns out that you guys are 67% right-handed and 16% left-handed and 16% ambi. And that is fascinating. Yeah, it's like if you're lucky enough to have somebody who cares enough to help guide you into what you should do for a life. It's like, it's easy to think of, like, jobs as, like, the headlines, the titles and whatever, but, like, there's no one really helping something like, for example, I like fossicking through piles of data, right? I know this now. Finding the little problems and fixing them, finding the gaps in processes and finding solutions. But, like, when you're trying to, like, find a path in life, people people focus too much on the headlines. It's like they don't look at, like, what tasks can you perform every single day and not feel like you want to peel your own skin off. That's the goal. As a teenager, that is your only goal, is to find something you can handle doing every day and just beeline towards that. Because, like, if your job doesn't make you happy, it doesn't have to make you miserable. So you got to find something that if your job can't make you happy, you got to find a job that won't make you miserable, and you can then, like, work out where to go to from there. So yeah. Anyway, sorry, that's my ranty ramble. Because I was someone who found it really hard to pick a direction. And I never... Yeah, I don't know. That said, like, not like... I wouldn't change the decisions that I made because, like, I wandered around and I experienced some stuff and I eventually ended up in what I casually refer to as the best timeline, even with everything going on. For me, I'm referring from a personal perspective, not from a broader world perspective. It's a weird timeline that we exist in. Anyway, moving right along. Like, I never saw what I currently do for a living coming. from just, I don't think anyone did. No one saw this coming. But it's also just not YouTuber, crocheter, crochet designer, creator in general. These aren't things you can pick in high school and decide to do. You need more life experience than that. You need to go out and form yourself as a human and then present yourself as a product. And having found said task you like, your goodness, is it annoying finding the job? Exactly, because, like, how do you explain to someone on a job listing that, like, I know I don't have any past experience in this or a qualification in this, but I am going to literally obsess over this detail, and it's going to make your life easier. It's like, communicate that to a company who's just trying to tick a box. It's just like, I can happily crochet for hours on end. That means that I'm probably perfect for, like, I don't know, mending nets or something. It's probably like I have ancestors who are fisher folk, so there's probably some truth in that. And, like, okay, cool, but if I showed up at the docks and was like, hey, I want to mend your nets, they'd laugh and be like, that's not a thing. It's like, yeah, but I could do it for all day, every day, and I would never complain. So, yeah. That's why you settled on blacksmithing. You wanted to be a pilot, possibly a bush pilot in Alaska, but you can't pass the medical exam. Oh, that's rough. I'm sorry to hear that, Angry Bear Ironworks. I still think blacksmithing's a really cool job, but I know my opinion doesn't really count. But yeah, I suppose that goes back to the whole, like, if it can't be the perfect job, it at least doesn't have to make you miserable. I think folks forget that. And, like, if it does make you miserable, make sure you filled the life outside of work with stuff that makes you happy. Because we all got to hunt the mammoth, but we all get to sit around the campfire too. CK would be at the docks like, yeah, I can make you a net in the shape of a Snorlax. Exactly. It's like, I don't know if you guys do that thing, but I say this as though it's a thing, but, like, look at the skills that you have in life and, like, see if they translate to, like, a dystopian end of world scenario. And I'm just like, might take some time to prove my value, but I feel like I could help bring joy to some people and warmth to some people. I feel like I've got a practical skill, you know? And failing that, I have a big skeleton. we're a combined set, you know? And I feel like that adds some value to the whole thing. Well, I feel like you're trying really hard to be cute there, baby. Look at this. Neat. You would thrive in a dystopia. Happy Time Zone, Angry Bear Ironworks, and something bunny. Forgive me, I forgot, like, I'm having a mental blank here. Bunny Badger, there we go. Good night to both of you. Sleep well. Thank you for hanging out. Alright, you just need a shell now. You're feeling a little shellfish. We could do it round. Yeah, clothes, fishing, hunting supplies, as well as, like... Folks, exposure is a thing. You want to not be exposed too much. People die of exposure. So, like, even, like, you tend to think of homewares as, like, a comfort or a nice to have, but, like, it blocks the drafts. You can make the house warm. A blanket can save a life. Socks, right? Never underestimate the power of a sock. Well, hopefully two, but... Eagle Ironic, we have gone on a little bit of a journey today. We spun a wheel, and it spun up reptiles and amphibians, and so we drew some reptiles and amphibians and a variety of other things, and we decided we are making a snapping snapping turtle today. And it has no bearing on anything else. It doesn't necessarily lock in our 12 days of crochet theme. It is just a thing we're doing. I'm the kid of a registered nurse and originally wanted to go into medicine. Excuse me, and am top emotional. It would hurt to lose a patient, but you've got enough knowledge to be good in an apocalypse. That's good. So it's like, I am also an emotional lightweight. I cry very easily for a large variety of reasons. And like, I don't take any of them personally, but I just know that, like, for example, if anyone talks at length about a certain robot, I will break down because I emotionally attach a little too hard to this robot. So, it's just, it's like, I'm fine. I'm gonna survive the apocalypse, but I'll probably cry a lot. And I know that I don't have the stomach for... I don't have the stomach to work with the public, I think is mine. I've done... Don't get me wrong, I've done my time in retail. I did. Got like 4 or 5 years frontline customer service in a retail environment, as well as a year in a call center, which admittedly was I was part of the business center, but it was still like small business, so I was still dealing with like humans, as opposed to large business, where of course none of them are humans. And it's just like, I very quickly realized that every career move I made after that point was to minimize how much contact I had with people, which is hilarious because that path ended up with me being here on stream. Hi. And I'm only just now putting that together. But like, yeah, I don't know. Life's a funny old thing. It's like yesterday, I got a little overwhelmed and like overwhelmed with just like a massive swell of happiness because like I glanced over at the kitchen and the apples I bought that day looked so perfectly red, and like they've been a little bit grey recently because they haven't had time to ripen, but they've just come into full season, and Pink Lady apples are the best, and they looked so good, and I was just so happy to have apples in my kitchen. And it's like, it's good. I've been trying to like train the gratitude muscle a little bit, and sometimes now it just kicks in unannounced and like unprompted. It gives me like this like ground swelling of like amazing gratitude feeling, and it's just like, okay, cool, this is a really good thing to be training. You just finished the crop top you were knitting. You can no longer run away from embroidering the 20cm Squirtle eyes I made yesterday. Yeah, but the reward of having those eyes done is going to be quite good, I think, Danny. Psh, we're not people. Besides, even if we were people, we're your people. Like the same things. We like the same things and think customers are insane. Yeah, exactly. Plus, I suppose like the difference is that like the difference between you guys and a customer is that I can't just like block a customer. She's like, we're going to mute you. Shh. I can't even do that to people on Etsy. Like, it's just like, it's rough because like in retail, you think that the problem is that you don't have the authority because you're not the manager or whatever. But then you become your own boss with your own like storefront or whatever, and you realize you still can't do or say the things you want to say. You can't respond to comments the way you want to, because it's a different set of rules. And yeah, it turns out that it was never an authority issue. It was just a scenario issue, and I knew it was a person issue. I'm conflict avoidant. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 17, 18. So even the idea that conflict exists stresses me out. But we all are just surviving. We're getting through it. You would walk away from rude customers is the phrase, I don't get paid enough for this. Pink Lady apples are the best. I agree. I'm going to do 3 single crochet, 3 single increase, 3 single crochet, and 3 single increase. That should give me a slightly more oval shape. Even though there are lots of people tuning into the stream, you're not face to face with all these people. I imagine it makes it less people to deal with. It does. It absolutely does, Sith Assassin. And plus, like, I have a weird moment sometimes when I like go away for a little break, like a 5-minute break, and then I come back and I wait for the audio to turn back on because, like, I forget that I'm the audio. It's a very weird experience to be sitting here like talking to yourself because, like, on the one hand, my brain is registering the fact that there is a constant sound source in the room, but then I get back from break and it doesn't occur to me to just start talking. My brain's like, cool, hit the play button. I'm just like, no, you are the play button. Gotta start talking. Gotta start talking some more. Can't decide if you're hot or cold. Turn your fan on too coldly, fan off too hot. Might be a layering issue. Try some socks. It might be that, like, you want warmth in certain parts of your body, and that'd be sufficient for the rest of you. Hi, Loot. Where are my increases at? I need to stop using invisible increases when I'm designing. There's one. There's two. Alright, I think I'm on my third one. See? I forgot to hit play. We were just sitting here in silence by accident. Take sliced cord apples and griddle them on medium... Oh, we lost it. I want to know what the rest of that said. Medium heat with a touch of butter, then top them with a dollop of ricotta cheese. Yeah, butter is Mr. Bones' favourite food, so we might just serve him with a dollop of butter. No, I make... First of all, I keep my pink lady... I slice them up, and then I douse them in orange juice to stop them going brown, and store them in my fridge in airtight containers so I can just, like, grab them and eat my apple snacks. But... do the same thing with cucumber, actually. I'm very much like a gotta slice it up to make it all consistent experience, and then it's just fun eating the flavoured foam. But apple crumbles are where it's at. I make a killer apple crumble that will knock your socks off. It's a standard apple crumble, but it's delicious. In some respects, I'm yes. In others, no. And CK is the opposite. Yeah. That's actually really accurate. Feeling a little called out, but I can't deny the truth of the statement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay, cool. And then are we going to do the same thing again, or are we going to complicate our lives a little bit? Because we can. Makes for good talky talk. Yes, it does. Yes, it's the acids in the orange juice. It can delay the apples turning brown because they're turning brown because of oxidization. So you can do that by keeping them in an airtight container. Some people soak them in like salt water or keep them like underwater. But like, yeah, what I do is for every 3 apples I chop up, I cut open, like, I use navel oranges because they're nice and juicy, and just squeeze it over the top. And it also, like, it takes the apple flavor and combines it with an orange flavor. It's an extra shot of vitamin C if you happen to need one. And yeah, just gives a little bit of extra kick to the apples. It makes them way more shelf stable. You miss being cold-blooded? Yeah, or water with lemons. It's the same sort of thing. It's like any citrus works. I just like orange because, like, it works nicely with the fruit of it. It's any fruits or vegetables that go brown when you cut them up, you can delay that by introducing an acid. Fun facts for the day. Now you've got like a little fringe to your shell, I think, friend. And I think we're going to start it. Stop that. Sorry, that was talking to myself. You guys keep doing whatever it is you're doing. I started humming. It's a hazard of the job, okay? Yep, a ceramic knife instead of metal also helps because the metal does speed up the whole process. I will also say that the number one trick to getting myself to eat my fruits and vegetables, other than having a skeleton who is an excellent cook, gotta say that, but I bought containers. This is gonna sound such a weird thing. I bought these really pleasing containers. They're just glass containers with like snap lock lids that are completely airtight, and now I can eat my fruits and vegetables because now, like, I have the tool for the job. And, like, I want to it gives me a lot of joy to, like, slice things up and put them in these little containers and have them stacked in my fridge. And then I can just grab one and, like, nosh away and then wash the container. And then if I end up with too many of us, like, the different shapes mean different things, right? If I end up with too many, like, flat rectangles, it means that I need to go buy cucumber and restock the cucumber. If I end up with too many big rounds, it means that I need to go do apples. And it's like, heh. Yeah, you heard the I Dream of Jeannie song. I haven't seen that show in like probably close to 30 years. It's just every so often, it's just like it comes back, particularly on stream. I think it's because like I'm a noise making buddy for myself, and so like it must be one of like the noises I make. Note to self, get skeleton chef. Nope, he's mine. Can't have him. Get your own. Alright, we're going up to there. What animal is this, friendo? Loot, we are making a snapping turtle. Except it's turning into more of just like a regular turtle. Oh. It's a catchy little theme song. So, yes, he is the chef in this house, but I will say that I am responsible for baked goods and desserts. You're just a little pancake, aren't you, friend? How many stitches around was that anyway? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's 4. Little bopping turtles. Yeah, they're bitey friends. I saw a picture and I was just like, I think that one. And this pattern isn't necessarily going to end up anywhere. It's just a thing we're doing today. Just so that we have a reason to hang out. Not that we need a reason to hang out. I've been hypothesizing about potentially kicking the Pokemon streams off again next week. But I'm just going to see how much filming I get done this week. Because, like, with Gyarados, while I'm still working on sewing the Gyarados together, I don't want to add anything else to that particular workload. I'm trying to balance that workload, and while I'm still catching up on that one, who is taking his own sweet time, but I think he's going to be worth it, I don't want to go back and add more to that list. And when he's done, it'd be nice to not have anything on that list for a week, but we'll see. Now, I've gone for the smooth snapper. Element here. I think I've just fundamentally failed to capture this little creature. But he's a cute little biscuit anyway. I think I have a sneaky needle in here. I do. Out you come. How long have you been in there? Tortoise. Wondered where that went. Suppose now I know. Any new Franken patterns from viewer submitted pieces? I've thought about it, but I found that I just don't get any... That's the wrong way to phrase that. It's not as much fun as it is just designing something from scratch. So unless I have a reason to Frankenstein something together, I just like, I'll do it for a video every now and then if the mood strikes, but honestly it's not a creatively rewarding endeavor in general. But I don't want to like, I've thought about closing it down, but like while you guys are still using that channel on the Discord, I want to encourage you guys to keep using those pieces while you're enjoying the process, because that's also part of it. Could be a sewing Gyarados stream. I'm really hoping to get him done. He can't possibly have more than 5 hours left in him. Because yeah, yesterday I got his head fully assembled. I got the face pieces made. I got the tail made. I made the remaining body segments. I reckon in 5 hours he'll be done. And then I want to use any extra time I have there to... I want to get that 151 video out. Because I feel like I'm missing my own hype train right now. But... I can't seem to find a minute where I'm comfortable even just thinking about what the structure of that video is, which is hard when you're the producer. You kind of have to know what the structure is so that you can start putting it together. So I need to find some space to get bored at some point over the next week. I need to just like set some time aside to go get really bored somehow. I think maybe I've just made your shell too small, buddy. Maybe I add another row. Oh, excuse me, I'm hiccuping, not hicking up. My goodness. I think we'll just do the exact same row again. Just it'll give us lift. I need lift. You wish to dub the snapping turtle Snapjack? I think Snapjack's a good name. What do you guys think? Yeah, hopefully Finito is done. Because, like, it'd be good. It'd be good to have Finito completed. So many good things waiting for us. And I've been checking out again Gen 2. And I think only for Alligator is really going to cause problems. A lot of them are really just, like, fun. I actually think that Pokemon stripped it down to basics for Gen 2. I think by the time we hit Gen 4 and 5, they've like ratcheted the details all the way up. I think for Gen 2, they actually turned that knob all the way down, and they gave us a bunch of like just really cute base shapes, which I'm looking forward to making. How long have we been streaming? We are just crossing the 3-hour threshold. So, like, I'm going to wrap it up when the tortoise is done, you know? Y'all picked the path and we did the thing. It flat like bitey pancake. It is a very bitey pancake. Faye, oh no. Yeah, so just another row of this to give it a little bit more volume. Things I would do differently were I making this guy again. I can name a few, but then again, too few to mention. Oh, night Pamela, thanks for hanging out. I think that might be better. Alright, let's tuck all of the bits in, shall we? So I could leave everything exactly where it is. But I think it's way more fun if I detach the limbs. We try and cram it all into a shell. So I've left a little divot there, which is going to be up and around the head. This tawdy little lady is very like Shella's hat, not Shella's body armor, if that makes sense. Don't get me wrong, it covers the whole top, but you can very clearly see where the limbs are attached at the sides. farewell to anybody who is departing at this point. Thank you for hanging out, and hope to see you next week. Don't forget to leave your Hollow Knight Silk Song requests in the Video Ideas channel on Discord. Should be a fun video. I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna make some of the stuff tomorrow. Just see how they turn out. And I do love me a good platformer. Maybe I'll play that. It's a crime that I haven't played Hollow Knight. Going to sleep now? That sounds fair. It's a good point to peel off if you wanted to, because we are approaching that point. Your internet exploded? Loot, I did see that. I did see your message about them having a specific shape to their shell. And I have looked at them, and I do know that they've got like certain points and things that we may have missed today. It's just, that is the nature of the current design we are working on, in that like I'm just trying to roll with it a little bit. So he's not perfect, but he is exactly what he is. Is there stream tomorrow? Why would there be a stream tomorrow? I'm not streaming tomorrow. If I said I was, I misspoke, and I'm sorry. I'm a little bit sleep deprived. Are you gonna play through Hollow Knight and Crochet what ends your run each time? Maybe. Is the game itself individual runs? Because like my current thought is I'm just gonna pick 3 things in there that I feel like I have to make, because like I saw some of the designs, I'm just like, oh, I have to make that. I'm just gonna make some stuff from it, wrap it up in a video, then maybe play it, because I can convince myself I've earned playtime if I work hard enough. How do your legs work, sir? Night, Kaylin. Bend them back that way. Ah, the Hollow Knight thing. No, I'm just filming a video. Do I have any black pins free at the moment? That'd be good to give you guys some idea of what the face is gonna be. Get out the way, Dustclops. Clippity cloppity. Oh, folks, we could have named the Pokemon we made. We didn't though, and I feel like it's too late now. But we could have. Okay, well there's our tortoise biscuit. Oh no, I should sew it together real quick. Let's just sew it together real quick. Won't take any time at all. That is not a good needle. It's a very bad needle. You're a better needle. Some of my needles have really small eyes. It's like, some days I will work with that. Other days I'm just like, you know what, no. I like myself too much to work with a needle with a bad eye. No, you can keep playing. Okay. Because like, I love a good difficult platformer. I've just somehow missed the Hollow Knight series, and I'm just very, very aware of everything going on with Silk Song at the moment, and like it has captured my attention and my imagination, and I think that the character designs are just immaculate. And I stand in a moment right now where I can have a go at crocheting some of them without having already seen a bunch of crocheted versions. And I think that's nice. I like that. I like being out the front when there's still a lot to add to the conversation. Yeah, I'm sorry. We have a bunch of people who visit these streams a little bit sleep deprived, but at least with the Pokemon streams, I often go long enough that you can choose to like wake up really early instead, if that makes you feel better. But it's just one of those things of like, if I have to perform the mental work of numbers and shaping and all of that jazz, I have to be at my pinnacle. Not necessarily the best time for you guys to watch. So, hence 11 a.m. on a Sunday. I think my longest stream was like 8 hours, or close to 9 hours. I was younger then. Shout out to them 2 a.m.ers. Yeah, that's why we developed the rule of if it's between the hours of 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. If you're a night owl, you should be asleep. And if you're a morning person, you should be asleep. Because 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. is your crossover period, where the night owls have all fallen asleep, but the morning people haven't woken up yet. So we had to make that ruling pretty early on, just to help people make better choices. Sorry, the reason I'm sewing this together now is that I'm worried that if I end stream, he'll never get sewn together and I will feel bad. So let's just pull himself together, even if it's a little rough, just to say we did. He did not capture any of the roly-poliness that I find enchanting about the snapping turtle, but he was an icebreaker. It's like I'm crepuscular. What if I'm not an early bird or a night owl, but instead a crazy crow? Like, you're just waking up in spits and spurts? Because, like, I can live off a 10-minute nap for far longer than most people would assume. That's here. As long as you're getting enough sleep to function, you can make the choices you want to make. 8 p.m. to 9 a.m. Yeah, I was like, I think it's partly a symptom of like having grown up in a bigger household. Is that like the night hours were the only time when like I wasn't going to get constantly interrupted, and I'm someone who like once I'm interrupted, I find it really hard to like get started again. A minor interruption, even just to answer a question, can literally throw me out by an hour, as I have to like cycle back around through the chain of procrastination to get back to what I was focusing on. And like those beautiful peaceful hours in the middle of the night were the time when the interruptions didn't happen, and so it just like it felt good to just like sink fully into what I was doing. And a little bit of that still remains. These days it's more that like the daylight hours I use to get so much stuff done, like all of the life stuff as well as all of the work stuff, or as much work stuff as I can. Then the work stuff creeps into the midnight, and then I just want to do literally anything that's not productive. Like I want to read my book, or if I want to play a game, or you know what I mean? That's just like literally anything that isn't straight up related to a money-making task. If I want to do that, I have to steal those hours from my sleep. Revenge bedtime procrastination. Yeah, when you're lying in bed and you're so tired that all you want is to close your eyes, but you can't yet. There's no reason. It's not like you're not stuck in a thought loop or anything. You can't yet. It's not time to close the eyes yet. Sorry. Try back again in half an hour. I find podcasts are really good for that, or audiobooks, because then like I can like trick myself. I can be like, okay, fine. It's not time yet, but we're just going to lie here with our eyes shut. And this sound source, this entertainment source, we're gonna set it to 5 minutes. Don't worry, we can extend that when we're awake after that, but we're not. We're asleep as soon as our eyes shut. Just because sometimes you got to like remember that your brain still has its twitchy toddler form in it somewhere, and it doesn't want to close its eyes yet. It's not sleepy, but it is. Beth, that sounds like a very productive list of things. I'm a perpetually tired pigeon. That's good. We like pigeons around here. Have I sewn you on yet? No, I haven't sewn that leg on yet. I am sewing this on so chaotically. I would not recommend anyone who, for whatever reason, is trying to sew anything together, don't sew things on the way I'm sewing this on. kind of just like very casually just attaching pieces wherever my needle happens to be. And I have no idea how much I've actually done yet, or if any of it is actually attached well enough to stay on. And I'm trying to leave room to stuff the shell afterwards. And I think I started the shell sewing on around the back there somewhere. There. Okay, cool. So I just have to try and keep that in mind too. Just like, we're doing this on hard mode. Yeah, revenge bedtime procrastination is basically not going to bed because you're trying to regain a sense of self-time because of a day that is too busy or draining. Yeah, but like, things that you love can also be busy and draining. Like, I don't want to paint a picture of me being miserable or anything, because I'm not. It's just I am a very busy person with a very, very full to-do list. And that is the struggle of me in my 30s. Oh, hey, happy birthday. I already said that to you, though. You still get another one. You get a bonus happy birthday. There we go. You're stealing the bonus happy birthday for your birthday back in May. Did I not happy birthday people back in May? Happy birthday to anyone whose birthday I've missed so far this year. Because I thought I happy birthdayed back in May. Because Mr. Bones's birthday is back in May. So I would have thought that would have been of any of them what I remembered. But maybe you weren't around for that stream, and that's also fine. Help yourself. Here, have a few extra for everybody. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. Please lay claim to your happy birthdays. You can get your gift bags at the door. It's just an acknowledgement that you exist, and we are pleased to be part of that experience. Kind of want to move these down here. Alright, we'll tuck that in, and then I'll work out how this shell is going. I said there were gift bags. I didn't say there was anything in them. There's so many pins still in this leg, but I think the leg is attached. It is. There's a fully attached leg that was still just completely pinned in place. There we go. So your half birthday 3 days ago, does that count? That's a lot of math to work out quite specifically how old you are, when at any point I only have the most tenuous grip on how old I am. I frequently have to do math to work it out. Now we'll just stuff the tortoise. Do 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 do. Stuff the tortoise. Okay, and we'll finish sewing this in place. What's really fun about this is that if this pattern doesn't go any further, this tortoise becomes just a sneaky little secret piece of stream lore that you had to be there to experience, and just sort of is what it is. So that's fun. You guys have been part of something special. Hi Kath. I didn't expect to still be going either. I think we're going to wrap it up pretty soon. I'm just sewing this guy together. I'll probably add some eyes as well. But we're still here for now. Just basking. Stream lore goes crazy. Guys, remember that time we made tortoises? No. Well, we do. Bye, Henriette. Thank you for hanging out. There we go. Oh, sewing that on took something away from it. He lost something in the assembly. That happens sometimes. Part of that was the very chaotic way I assembled him. Just now realised that I'm spending this time sewing, and then realising that my whole afternoon is probably sewing Gyarados together. Be good to get him done today though. Excellent. Hello, Coletti Spaghetti. This is Snapjack. Our very rough first attempt at a snapping turtle. That's not to suggest that there will be a second attempt. It's just to say that we're here. Vini vidi vici. I came, I saw, I turtled. Oh, that's... yeah, we're not going to do that. The more I stitch these eyes, the smaller they seem to be getting. Hold on, let me just pay real close attention for a second so I can stop pulling them in so tightly. There we go. Now we'll just do a little mouth enhancement. Yep. I do think it could be fun to make a really big one of these, like doing all of the the rolls and limbs and the scaled legs and the tiled back, like, and even like mossy growth. Just do it up right proper. Accidentally given it a very miffed little expression, but it's fine. They get to choose the spirit that they have. I just work here. Yeah, he accidentally turned into Super Tortoise. I feel like these could be fixed if I pinned them down that way. These could be fixed if I like anchored them down here a little bit more. That's what I mean when I say I'll get it in editing. Just like, okay, cool. So where I positioned those, they weren't really working. But if I pull them down a little bit, we start looking a little, maybe slightly more like the source material. I'm going to go back in and anchor those where I want them to be. It's the stream that doesn't end. Why is he snapping? Because that just be what this particular turtle do. Someone makes a giant plush version of the snapping turtle as a pillowcase. They could name it Chimera. Maybe? Yeah, Western Australia and Washington having the same state initials makes doing Google searches interesting sometimes. Thankfully, Google is a total creeper these days, and so always assumes that I'm looking for like Australia region type stuff. And it probably does the exact inverse to anybody American, or honestly anyone anywhere else in the world probably gets the Washington treatment. They have quite the temper if not properly socialized. I knew I related to these creatures. There we are. These legs are better now that they've been anchored a little better, I think. Don't get me wrong. I don't think the shapes on him are perfect, but I think he's a perfectly good little prototype. The issue was in the design phase, I should have put more time into developing those proportions a little bit more and deciding how I was going to add certain details. Instead, he ended up with no details. There we go, all locked in place. My favourite thing about curved needles, right? Don't get me wrong, I like a lot about curved needles, but at least with a curved needle, if I'm pulling it straight back towards my face, I'm not at risk of like stabbing myself. It's a curve. Whereas like with a straight needle, if you're pulling it straight back, you see, I just whacked myself in the face and I didn't even have anything in my hand. Safety. Curved needles are a safety, but you do have to adjust to the angle of them because you'll stab your fingers more often when you first start using them because you're not quite used to them emerging at certain degrees. Let me take those back. It's just a little guy. He's their tortoise roundup. Tortoise roundup. I don't have convenient access to Noomal, but I do have Grotle. Hold on one second and I'll grab Grotle. I'm still here and no one is panicking. That's the rules, we set them out earlier. There's Grotle. Don't know where Noomal currently is, but Grotle. Grotle's a fun member of the Tortoise Club. Cool. We've got good tortoise representation here today. Squirtle's all the way at the back. I'm not getting Squirtle. Lapras is an honorary member of the Tortoise Tortoise Club. Noomal is a camel. I agree. Somebody earlier was talking about how Noomal was a tortoise, and I disagreed. Okay, cool. Tortoise Club. Guys, we're probably going to leave it there today. It was 3.5 hours. It's a pretty good stretch. This was just a fun little, like, bridging activity. It was just a reason to hang out more than anything else. It was fun to explore the amphibian and reptile theme a little further. But I think, first of all, it's confirmed for me a couple of more reptiles and amphibians that I would like to make at some point. Namely, I am a big fan of this little guy. And it also means that I think the saltwater crocodile might belong in Mischief Gang. So I might have to think about that. It's also introduced me to snapping tortoises. Snapping turtles. Come on, brain. Snapping turtles who I feel deserve like 100-hour treatment a little bit, but I can't make any promises because y'all should see my ideas list. My goodness. I think it has confirmed for me though that I don't think reptiles and amphibians will be our 12 days of crochet theme. That's not to say that lizards and frogs and whatnot won't appear somewhere in the 12 days. I just don't think it's a theme on its own. I think we have plenty of other fun themes. I bring the wheel back up for a second here. We have a wheel. If we'd spun it a second time, we would have hypothetically... Oh, you guys are going to be so sad! If you guys had picked spinning the wheel at the halftime point, we would have been making feral appliances this afternoon. You saw it here first, but nevertheless, that is where we're going to leave things today. Have a happy time zone, everybody. Farewell to the replay gang as well. And yeah, don't forget to leave your Hollow Knight requests for Silk Song in the video ideas channel on the Discord, because I'm going to look through them tomorrow and probably make a couple of them, and that should be a pretty fun video this week. Anyway, I'm going to go now. Okay. Bye.